somebody help. Come and put a hand. Come and wipe away the blight and see what the plight that befall the man of this land. What's going on here? I would like to know why the whole world is in a turmoil. So it look as if we fire God from the job and give the work to the 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗀𝗧𝗪. Man, the devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. If you have to never like understand. The devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. If you have to never like understand. Like if Satan in control of running the land. Hey man. Oh man. Only wars and rumors of wars. Incurable disease go from sea to seas and they happen without a cause. Strange phenomena now happen everywhere. The callousness of this world has the world in fear. Politics and weaponry have taken its toll. They have the whole world out of control. Man, the devil have a hand in running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. If you don't happen here, well I can understand like it. Oh yes man. Running the land. The devil have a hand in running the land. The king of the devil I can understand like if Satan in control of running the land. Oh man. To get at ease we turn to religion, but then in our quest to do our best we end up in real confusion. Some religious leaders so phony and vain, allow religious morals to go down the drain. Their materialism make them feel them is Lord, robbing the world in the name of God. Man, the devil have a hand in.
And of course, let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners. Yes. It's in the village with the Jack triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. We have a jam-packed program tonight, but let me bring in no other than Diana, Waveney, Benskin, McDonald boy.
Yes, that's me.
She's inside. All right, let me see who else, boy. Oh, God. Everybody inside tonight, boy. Let me bring in no other than Team Phantom, boy.
Again, feedback.
I know you're getting feedback from Team Phantom, where?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
So now,
all right, everyone.
Yeah. Let me bring in no other than...
Looking nice, boy. Look at him.
Let me bring in... Oh, you always do this Dana looking nice thing. Come now, man. Dana is the only one in this program.
What? I seen on some fancy shirt there, boy. What?
Boy. Yeah, boy.
I noticed it. I see it.
Yeah. Let me welcome no other than the outside child. And for the people in the chat, the love child, boy. Marshall Nesbitt, Tommy E, boy. Tom E. Tommy, welcome.
A good evening to the family, to the village family.
Yeah,
good evening.
Yeah,
again, a feedback.
How's my village family today?
Yeah. Well, we have jam packed.
Shouldn't be from me.
Everybody good tonight, boy. Yeah, wait. Hear this. But what? Yeah. Hear this. Cheese stick, Dana, breadstick, cheese stick coming. 541, yes?
I'm fixing my mic. I'm getting a feedback.
Well, I ain't getting no
Are you
feedback.
guys hearing me?
Yeah, we hearing you.
Are you getting the feedback?
No, I ain't getting no feedback.
All right. I'm going to come off a minute and change my headset.
All right, no problem. Yeah, hey, let me say this, boy. Cheese stick coming 5:41 p.m. And here what you say? I am first finally laughed out loud. Cheese stick, boy. We had to get a round of applause for you, boy. Let me look for the round of applause. I had to put a round of applause in there. Let me put this one. Hold a minute. Hold a minute. Yeah, boy. I get a round of applause in there for Cheesesteak. Cheesesteak, take this, boy. Take this round of applause. Eh? I hope you hear this one. Take this one. Boy, that's for Cheesesteak, boy. Cheesesteak coming 541, boy. Cheesesteak, you're real good, boy. All right, Cheesesteak say answer me. Hear about the plane that crashed in Trinidad?
A plane?
A lady jump off the plane. Cheesesteak. All right, let me read the joke for you.
Answer him, let me leave and come, Kaya.
All right, leave and come back. Cheesesteak say all you listen to Cheesesteak joke, eh? This Cheesesteak joke, eh? Cheesesteak say, answer me here about the plane that crashed in Trinidad. A lady jump off the plane and lay down naked on the ground so police will be able to find the black box. Cheesesteak. All right. Oh, God. Robin YGG. Robin, where you joining us from? Robin YGG. I know you pronounce that now. Robin, where you joining us from? Tikisha, welcome. Lana, welcome. Wolverine, where was last time, boy? Like somebody tell me you went in the woods. You was looking for some wolves. Steve Chini Lopez, straight out of Orlando, Florida, boy. Wolverine. Let me see. Vonnie Roberts, good evening to you as well. Let me bring back in. Is that Diana there? No, Diana ain't come back yet. Let me say hello to Vonnie Roberts as well. How you doing? Vonnie, yes, Vonnie. Lana. Raj V, boy. Welcome, Raj V. Curtis Monteshad. Mampana from Chumaka, boy. Good afternoon to you, Raj V. Curtis Monteshad from East Orange, boy. The man logging in from East Orange right next door, yes? What? Nuts cake. Nuts cake inside, boy. Nuts cake. Nuts cake wasn't here last time, and I ain't feel so, you know. Tikisha, welcome. Ray Stel Bomber, boy. Ray Stel Bomber, boy. Yeah, Nuts cake. I told you, the madman and comedian, Run DMC. Who is it? Run Wallafield Nuts. My dog too, right? Caris. Who else, boy? Rose. Is it Linda Gibson? I think it's Linda Gibson. Yeah, Linda Gibson. Some of the names here, you know. Oh, Rowley from Canada. Haley. Ellis. Rishi. Yeah, that's just some of them for now. I'll get all of them together. What? Carissa, how are you doing? I'm not seeing him. Who is Robin YGG? You're new to the village. All you say hello to Robin YGG for me. Robin is new to the village. Everybody say hello to Robin YGG. Robin, where are you joining us from? I wonder if Robin know Batman. Robin. Let me bring back in Diana. Robin, where are you joining us from? Robin is new to the village, folks, so. All right, Diana, wave me Benskin McDonald. You back with us?
Yeah, I'm not getting a feedback anymore. I think it's you and that cheap Chinese equipment you buy, you know. Buy one and get one free. Yeah.
I buy my equipment from Russia. I don't try that. My equipment. Hey, Caris, like Caris, you know Robin? Robin from Cuba, boy. What's Cuba? What part of Cuba? Oh God, all you say hello to Robin, man. What is that? Cheesesteak up front. Yeah. Thank you very much, Cheesesteak. All you say hello to Robin, what is that? All you know, we just welcome everybody into the village. Yeah, Wolverine. Right. Wolverine, lick it up nice. Lana, we waiting for you, you know. Caris. Takisha, here we go. Takisha, welcome. Yeah. Hey, Ray Stout, you only putting one sort of thing in and you ain't saying hello to Robin. What is that one? You know we don't move so, man. All right. Who else? Nuts cake. No, not Skate say hello already. Cheesecake say hello. Ray Stelton say hello yet.
Oh my God, 𝗏𝗏𝐶ake is here already?
Diana,
Mm.
Diana, hear this. Cheesesteak coming 5:41 p.m.
Oh my God.
And hear what he say now. Hear what he say.
Yeah, I heard.
He say
I
I'm
heard.
first, finally, laughed out loud. At 5:42, he said, good afternoon, WZYE crew. But cheesesteak, but I gave him a round of applause. You know. Cheesesteak, you take the cheese, yeah? And hear the boring joke he gave?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah. That was. I know Tommy go listen to that joke. No, Run him come here. Run the MC like he gone by Waterfield nuts. Troy Smith, welcome man. Wait, Rain. Ellis, welcome as well. Rain was here before then, huh? Tommy?
No,
Gary?
no.
Rain?
I never.
Rain, welcome. Let's say hello to Rain as well. R-E-I-G-N. It's not R-A-I-N. R-E-I-G-N.
Yeah, Rain is new. Say hi, Rain.
Yeah. All right.
Welcome, Rain. Welcome.
You tell me to scroll down. Still tell me to scroll down. All you think the mayor already inside, you know.
Yes, so let's go.
Hold on, let me go. Yeah, let me go, boy. We ain't wasting no time. Well, the mayor, if you're listening to us, you had to connect your mic and your cam before I add it to the stream. You have to connect your mic and your cam. If you're listening to us, Mr. Mayor, you have to connect your mic as well as your mic or your camera. That's what it's telling us here. We can see you, but your device is not connected. Dana, you want to send him a message?
All right, let me come out and go speak with him. I'll come right back.
Yeah. So tell him his mic and thing. Yeah, Rain, welcome. What, Wolverine, you know Rain too? Hey, Ray Stel, say hello to. Oh yeah, you say hello to Rain already. You know, run on your side to pick on somebody. Run said Rajvi said welcome. Curry says welcome. Only welcome Rain because it's not snow. Hey Rain, that's your real name, boy? Rain, is that your real name or is that your social media name? Yeah, hey Rain, start I scroll down to see, man. I scroll down. Ellis, the board, boy. Good evening, boy. Ellis inside. Robin inside too. All right, I'm gonna go down. Okay. Only we have the mayor, but we're just waiting to get connected. Rain says it's LMAOO, boy. Rain, we just do different things different in here, you know. Yeah. Hey, 𝗏𝗏𝐶ake can even say hello. Hey, 𝗏𝗏𝐶ake. Oh, all right. 𝗏𝗏𝐶ake say hello. Sorry. I didn't see it. Oh, Wolverine, all you know, Rain. Anybody know Son? Don't we have a person named Son inside the chat too? If you have a Rain, you must have Son. You can't just have Rain without Son. You know what I mean? So, folks, what we just basically doing, we're waiting for the mayor here. But in the meantime, let's give you guys some breaking news of what happened in St. Vincent. The Prime Minister was struck in the head, and I think, you know, as a saying, that he got a bus head. They call it a bus head. So let me just look at some of the let me have the picture. I have the picture right here. So this is the picture of him. That's the picture of him there. Right? Let me bring back in Diana. Yeah, Diana.
Yeah, I didn't get through to him. I think he might be trying to rectify his connectivity issues. So
yeah, because we've seen his name, but we're not seeing. We can't connect. His devices is not connected. Yeah, just send him a message now.
Yeah, I he's not. You know. Hi, I'm coming back out.
Okay, yeah, send him a message. All right, folks, this is what's going on in St. Vincent. Okay, let's take a quick look.
The
Prime Minister is bleeding. Somebody just bust the Prime Minister head with a stone. Somebody just hit the Prime Minister in his head with a stone. I don't know if you saw it, guys, on the live, but his head is bleeding. He just walked through the crowd.
𝗲𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗻𝐻. Oh no, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh Lord.
Somebody just bust the Prime Minister head with a stone. Somebody just hit the Prime Minister in his head with a stone. I don't know if you saw it, guys.
Oh boy. And in the
No,
middle there,
this man is right.
in the
Why
middle
would I
there,
do that to him?
I don't know, man. You see, Gary, what we saw there was they were protesting because I guess they say people have to, it's mandatory. You have to, they're gonna have mandatory taking of the jab, so to speak. And the people been protesting now for a little bit, and I guess they're kind of upset. You know what I mean?
So this is what it resulted to.
That's a lot of upset. That's all the Prime Minister.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah. And of 𝗪𝗏𝗀𝗻𝗄 is his bodyguards.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
supposed to have
boy.
a security detail. Where's the security?
That's serious to know, man. You know,
That's a
and
bad.
yeah.
You know, he's the kind of guy that mixes with the people, and he's more indulged and engaged with the people on the ground. So, I mean, you know, it's very sad, though. Very sad.
I don't think we ever want to see that type of thing happening, man. You know? Yeah, Diana, you back.
Yeah, I spoke with him. He was trying to put it on his laptop, so he's going to do it through his phone. So he should be coming up in a minute. Yeah, I was told about that the incident with the Prime Minister of St. Vincent. It's a credible story. It said that what is causing, there's a lot of unrest going on in St. Vincent right now. And because they're trying to make it mandatory, Mr. Gonzalez is trying to make it mandatory for citizens to take the vaccine, take the jab, and they're resisting against it. The Medical Association is not supporting Mr. Gonzalez's view, and it has escalated into this because he's so on the ground with, you know, his people. So that's what's going on. That's what's resulted in him being assaulted with that rock.
Yeah, but you know, to me, right, you have to, those kinds of things cannot happen, you know, in a society. It's unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. And none of us should stand for that type of behavior at all.
Nope.
None of us. Not in the Caribbean. Nowhere in the world, but especially in the Caribbean.
You can disagree, but you can do it civilly, you know? Not to injure or cause harm on anyone. Yeah. Yep. I agree with that.
Albert Montano, welcome. Welcome. Yeah. And Ray, I ain't gonna read that comment, Ray.
What Ray?
No, I ain't gonna read it.
No. We not. Nope.
No, we read that. Rose, welcome. Welcome.
Look, Aaron, look, the boss reach. My head nice. My partner, sister. Oh Lord.
Who tell Easy Boss?
Huh? Good night, Ron.
The man reached late.
And he's the boss.
7:21 and Easy Boss. So, folks, let's go straight to the Honorable Mayor of Port of Spain, Mr. Joel Martinez. Mr. Martinez, we want to welcome you into the village with the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. So, we welcome you, and it's in the village with the Dark Triplets. It's called DAG. It's called DAG. And DAG is Diana.
That's
Diana
me.
is considered to be the storm. Then we have Anselm. Anselm is considered to be, well, Wall Street, what is the other one? Flash.
The Flash.
Considered to be Flash. And then we have G, which is Gary. Gary is considered to be the Phantom. And then we have a fourth individual, which is considered to be the outside child, but the ladies in the chat call him the love child. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Joel Martinez. And so, normally, we like to know how a person would like to be addressed because we here in the United States of America tend to like to address our guests very respectfully. So, how would you like us to address you?
You can address me as Mr. Mayor. You can address me as Joel Martinez. You can address me as Your Worship. That is, in Trinidad, they say Your Worship, or His Worship, when you're referring to me, but Your Worship when you're referring to when you're talking to me.
Okay, but
I'm a simple guy, so it really doesn't matter. Mr. Mayor sounds good enough for you, and it's good enough for me.
All right, so let's go with Mr. Mayor. That's okay. We believe, one thing we believe here in the village, we believe it's important to give those individuals that come into the village due respect. But Mr. Mayor, let me just say that, right? What we have here, this radio program that we have here is a different type of radio program, right? We are also broadcasting live at 95.9 FM here in New Jersey. And what we do is that we incorporate questions from people in the chat, respectful questions from people in the chat to our guests. So I hope you wouldn't mind people in the chat asking you any questions that they think are very important.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. Wonderful, wonderful. So, sir, first we're going to start with, we see the great job that was done in Port of Spain with respect to the cleanup. I mean, there was the flooding and the cleanup was, I got to say, was fantabulous and quickly. So tell us a little bit about that process there with respect to the cleanup in Port of Spain.
Well, the thing about it is that rainfall anywhere around the world now creates disasters, and it's not usually always normal rain anymore. We had a half an hour of a deluge, and which is what heavy water, a lot of very intense, and it created a lot of flooding as such. We had two of our rivers, which is the East Dry River. It overflowed its banks, and also the 𝗪𝗪𝘆 River. So that water would have flown and affected the upper 𝗪𝗪𝘆 area, and then it would have affected the St. Anne's area. And it came down into the city of Port of Spain because Port of Spain is just before the hills, or just after the hills of 𝗪𝗪𝘆 and St. Anne's. So water came down into the city. It affected the area surrounding the East Dry River, which is East Port of Spain, and there were a lot of debris and mud and slush and everything that affected went into people's homes and such. And it also affected the hub of City Gate, which is where it's really our transportation hub. And we immediately enacted our corporation workers. We got help from the various corporations, the Ministry of Works, Fire Services, and we went to work immediately. I called the police commissioner. I asked him to ease the workers on the curfew. He put out a press release about 15 minutes after that was dealt with, and we worked all night, and we have been able to clean up about, I would say, about 80% of the mess over between yesterday and today. And we are trying now to hose down a lot of the areas where there was a heavy amount of silt, and there's still some debris left. And we should move everything by tomorrow. And I would say by the end of tomorrow afternoon, everything should be all right and the city should be back to normal.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to quickly go to questions in the chat because our chat moves so quickly and sometimes people accuse us of not asking their question. So, Lana says, Mr. Mayor, will you say damage to mountain range is part of the problem in Port of Spain and 𝗪𝗪𝘆 flooding?
Well, we haven't really determined what caused the damage. And but we have been having a lot of rainfall within recent times, and it could have been that the earth was very soft, the mountain was full of water, and that could have caused it, or it could have been some irritation that may have happened from somebody trying to clear the mountain to do some planting or squatting, whatsoever. You know, we are not too, we're still kind of lax on those laws, and part of, but when you looked at the material that came down, it really wasn't people that were putting solid waste into the watercourse. It was a lot of bamboo and mud and silt and that sort of thing. So it was really topsoil coming off of the mountains.
So someone else says, due to climate change, Trinidad and Tobago needs to do something now other than later. What do you say about that?
Well, we have signed on to the Paris Accord, and we are working on the Sustainable Development Goals. And part of it is to continue to green the city and to work on the environment. We have been doing our part in Port of Spain, but you know, you have to coax people still to be able to encourage them to understand the value of the ecosystem. And I think we will get there eventually, but we are working on it simply every day. You know, when we celebrated 200 years of the savannah, we planted an additional 200 trees. We have been adding, the Ministry of Agriculture and us, we have been trying to find ways to green the city. A lot of my development plans within the city require a bit of greenery, and I'm very much for that. And we also received the designation of the UNESCO City of Music. So we are trying to create the system of where people can walk, which is walkability and things like that, and create what you call a walk of fame areas where people can look down at the pavement and see our heroes and read about them and that sort of thing. And to do that, you have to be able to walk through the city. And if you have to walk through the city, you have to have a lot of greenery so that people can see it, enjoy it, and marvel over it.
Mr. Mayor, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Mr. Mayor, Ms. Benskin here, how are you doing? Thank you for accepting our invitation to the program. Thank you. We see every year.
I was enjoying a little bit of your banter just now and your laughter. It's quite good. Program.
Thank you.
We see every year where the floods, you know, they take a certain water course-way. Is there anything that can be done infrastructurally to capture the water at a certain point and not allow it to, you know, rush down into the city areas and steer the water in another direction?
Well, before I was the mayor of Port of Spain, I was a local government councillor in the 𝗪𝗏 area, which is the 𝗪𝗏, 𝗪𝗏, Borcia village area. And we built every development that came on stream, we encouraged them to put retention ponds, so that will slow down the rate of water. We have looked at additional solutions in the 𝗪𝗏 area to be able to manage the extent of flooding that was taking place. We cleaned the river at a number of times a year, and we make sure that we encourage people to not throw solid waste into the watercourse, because the thing is, our infrastructure is really old, and it's about 100 years old. Our drainage system in the city, and we haven't, especially now, it's kind of difficult to try and spend any type of money on developing the infrastructure to be able to take the capacity of water. What we have to do is really do a holistic study, which we have done a few of them before, to determine all the flooding areas and so on, and where we could add value. We did recently, about 2 years ago, we put in a pump by the lighthouse, and we also created some drainage in the taxi hub system, and where the city gate is, and that has gave us a little bit of relief. The thing about it is that about 3 years ago, I did a water program, and I invited the Dutch ambassador and the Ministry of Works and WASA and all these people to look at how we can park water and then let it simply flow. And that way, instead of having an East Dry River, we can just have an East River, because the Dry River, when it has no water, it's very dry, and then at rainy season it could get to the point like what happened 2 days ago, and it overflowed. So we are looking at studies, but that cost a lot of money, and Trinidad right now the economy is not the best, not the best of health. But at the same time, we are hopeful that at some stage we should be able to put some measures in place, and that would not just be at the local government level, but the local and the central government level. And since we are talking about revitalizing the city of Port of Spain, it's going to have to be done at some stage.
I have one more question for him, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I read a lot. And I read something where they said this is the year of La Nina, and the moon is wobbling quite a bit. So we're going to see a lot of rainfall. To the best of your knowledge, do you know if Port of Spain is situated below sea level?
I didn't hear the end of your question.
Ansem, could you ask? Is Port of Spain situated below sea level?
She's saying it's Port of Spain situated.
Well, part of Port of Spain was sea, and that is if you take Park Street and you come down St. Vincent Street all to the docks area, and the lighthouse was actually out to the sea, and the lighthouse is now land. So we've reclaimed some land, but I wouldn't really say it's. I would think that some level of it might be under sea level, but really not much.
Mr. Mayor, I left Trinidad and Tobago 44 years ago. And at that point in time, the East Dry River overflooded banks many times. We are in 2021, and that is still happening. Why is that?
And it's still
overflowing its banks, the East Dry River. I left Trinidad 44 years ago. I left Trinidad in 1977.
Well, you know, the thing about it is that, as I said, we haven't really spent money on the infrastructure in the city of Port of Spain. The city of Port of Spain is 107. We've spent so many different things, but we really didn't spend on drainage infrastructure. And you know, politicians when they look at drainage infrastructure, it's not above ground, so it's not something that you see regularly. It's only when there's flooding, you then know that's something wrong and you got to deal with it. It's not very popular unless you really have constant disasters taking place and affecting the situation, and people start to bawl and say, look, you know what, let's do something about it. That's when governments really start to work in those instances. And if you look at what's, as you said, taking place around the world with the La Nina and the climate change and all these things, you're realizing countries who have very well developed infrastructure are flooding. You know, like Belgium recently, and some parts of China and Germany and that sort of thing. And those countries have tremendously great infrastructure. The problem is climate change is really wreaking havoc, and we should have done something about it some years ago. And you know, we never do anything about it until we think the time has come.
But Mr. Mayor, isn't it passing the buck to blame climate change when things have not been put in place? For example,
you're breaking up, and I could hardly hear you at all.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if is that better? Are you hearing us better now?
It's not good.
Yeah, because what happens sometimes, anytime we have a very important person here in the village, we always have communication problems. It's always.
I'm not hearing you.
You're not hearing me? So, Mr. Mayor, can you just leave and come back? Can you leave and come back? Yeah. Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now?
The connection is not good.
Tell him to. Can you leave and come back again?
I'm trying to see if I wonder if it's me.
Yeah, see if you can exit the app and come back in.
Yes,
exit and come back.
Let me try to let me leave and come back. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right.
Give me a minute.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So right. So folks, What I'm trying to find out, I'm Cindy, I'm going to get to your question. To Keisha, I'm going to get to your question. I'm going to get to all the question. So what I'm just trying to find out here is that, I think that climate change
I think he answered the question basically. What he's saying is that the politicians didn't see it fit to invest in infrastructure because especially with the drains and stuff, because it's not something that they see on a normal basis until something happens. But before they started throwing up all these large buildings in Port of Spain, they didn't think about fixing the infrastructure either. They rushed to put up something pretty and nice, but they have prepared the foundation. And anytime you're going to build a house, you always make sure that the foundation is strong. And you know what I'm saying to you? So, here we see it in the States now where they're doing more preparation and stuff like that. But the global warming is genuinely creating a real chaotic situation because you're getting 4 and 5 times the amount of rain that you would usually get. And
Gary, I hear you, but Trinidad been flooding now. Anytime you get any kind of downpour in Trinidad is a flood.
Yeah, but listen to me. You hear what he said? He was he spoke truth to power basically there. I had to respect him for that fact that they never pay attention to the infrastructure and do anything about it. And he said politicians, don't really or haven't really paid attention to these things. So I got to give it to him there. You know what I mean? He didn't come on here trying to beat around the bush with us.
Right, I hear you, but this is what, Tommy, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm saying additionally, there is a culture of dumping in the waterways that needs to stop.
Right, Takesha said that. That's something Takesha said. Takesha says, to be honest, Mr. Mayor, sometimes flooding is also caused by some people throwing their garbage and old fridge and stove, etc. in the rivers or manholes. And that's a valid point. That's a very valid point. And Cindy, we're going to get to your question. We're actually going to ask your question once you get him back. But you see, Gary, Diana, and Tommy. So I listened to the Minister of Local Government and to the Minister, the Assistant Minister of National Security. And the Assistant Minister of National Security was blaming climate change. Right? And
obviously, he go look for something to blame. He would not reflect on the failure.
Because here why, Gary, thinking about country and flooding, right? In Conassi has not flooded. There has been no flood in Conassi since, I think we had a serious hurricane. I forget which hurricane it was. And Conassi built a sort of a dam. What they do is that they take the water out of the riverways and store it in a place. So when the river reaches a certain level, it pumps river into this big, it's very large, right? And they pump the water in there. Water constantly pumping. It could hold millions and millions of gallons, right? And when everything is back to normalcy, they pump it back out into the waterways.
But what I've been saying to them, and Diana the question Diana posed to him is something I've been saying, so maybe she was paying a little bit of attention to what I was saying. In that we should work, because the water is coming from up the hill. I have been suggesting to them, I spoke to Rohan Sinanan, I even spoke to Lee Hunt at the time, in that the mayor did the very thing that should be done, which is bringing all the parties together, Works, WZYE, and the various ministries, and these are the things I've been suggesting. And I had some conversation with him too a little while way back. But anyway, so we remember 6 months of the year people can't get water. Some people can't get water in rainy season too. So we need to intercept that water and push it into a WZYE storage facility so that it can be reprocessed. And being that it's coming down from the hills, we should intercept it before it reaches the lower levels. So there's several ways you can create that water retention and water redirection by creating various drainage system in several sectors that you intercept the water. You don't try to wait till the water reaches a certain level all the way down to intercept it. You start intercepting it from high up the hill.
But Gary,
across it.
But Gary, also, Gary, they have to stop allowing them people to build them houses up in the mountains.
All of that is the problem.
Cut down all them trees. And when you cut down all them trees, it's an easy path for landslides, mudslides, all kind of things.
All kind of slide.
All kind of slides. They have to stop that.
Not only that. When they when they give them the permit to build the house, they have to provide drainage. You understand? They're just allowing them to build the house and not provide the proper infrastructure to build the house. The land is not properly developed. They're just going and throwing up houses.
Well, that's part of the problem, and that's solution, because for example, right, in America, when you live in suburban America is considered to be up the hill, right? And now, urban America is considered to be, on the flats. Now in Trinidad and Tobago, all of a sudden, we have to get this, because in Trinidad and Tobago it's different. The poor people live up the hills, and the rich people live down on the flats.
Depends on which hill it is.
Say that again, Tommy.
It depends on which hill it is. In St. Augustine, up the hill is the rich people.
Well, most of the hills in Trinidad, I would say, right? Most of the hills, because people use Laventille as an example, right? And Tommy, you are absolutely correct as well, right? But in this country, when you live in suburban America, you live up the hill, and urban America is down the hill. And all of a sudden, a lot of people now are deciding they want to build their house up the hill. A lot of more rich people want to build their house up the hill because of the sightseeing that you can get when you build your house up there. Like, for example, my mother-in-law lives in 𝗵𝘁𝗄𝐿𝐼, right? And when you go up in 𝗵𝘁𝗄𝐿𝐼, and at night, it's the best view you could find in the world. You see the whole of Port of Spain. Man, it's fantabulous, splendiferous, marvelous, tremendous. I mean, the sight is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, you really can't pay for that sight. Yeah, I mean,
no.
And I mean, I used to be so happy to go out and just sit down there, man, and watch lights, everything. And listen, and I could see the savannah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beautiful, but the mayor is still trying to connect. He's just
I was taken there many a time to look out. It's a beautiful sight.
Yeah. It was a beautiful sight, man, a beautiful sight. And so now we now allowing all these people to build up the hill. So when they got to build up the hill, you got to cut down trees. Nature, right?
Yeah. I mean, development has to take place, except it has to be planned. Once you plan the development and you stick to the plan, you get better results than just haphazard, willy-nilly.
Yes, it has to be regulated. They just went and
absolutely.
There was no land development taking place where you prep the area and you prep the area in reference to drainage, and the engineer is thinking along the line that we in an era of global warming, and you wouldn't get 6 inches of rain now. You might get 18 inches of rain in you know what I'm saying, instead of 6.
And also too, I think they should be harvesting this water for the drought seasons instead of just letting it fall. And they should find a way to capture the water, harvest it, and keep it for dry season. Yeah.
But that is something I've been recommending, and a lot of people. In fact, there is plans drawn out that the government's sitting on that would not act on. I mean, I'm talking about since in the 70s, I was told. In fact, based on the conversation with Lee Hunt, that's one
I think in a minute. The mayor's back. The mayor's back. Hold on. Let's bring him back in.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Welcome back. Are you hearing us now?
Oh, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
Feedback.
Do you have on a computer or something in the background?
Yeah, we're hearing a feedback.
Well, I'm just now.
Let's see.
What happened is, oh gosh. Hold on.
Yeah. I think that's better now.
Yeah.
I think he had another.
All right, that's better. Right, good. Yes.
That's better. Yeah.
Sorry about that,
we have
guys.
another link.
No problem.
Thank you. Welcome back.
I wasn't hearing you as well as I would like to on my phone.
But that's all right.
I wasn't hearing you as well as I would like to on my phone.
Okay.
But anyhow, we'll work around it. Yes, we'll have some fun.
Yeah, we work around it. Yeah. So another question from Cindy Lacan says, please advise if any further work was done to the pump and drainage system that was implemented 2 years ago to help with reducing the flood at 𝗪𝗂𝗃𝗍𝗃.
It has helped with the drainage system. It was a small job, but it has helped because anytime you had a certain level of rain, the 𝗧𝘂𝗲𝗍𝐻 area would flood. And so what we did is we've created a drain that runs from the city gate all the way to the lighthouse, and we have pumped it so that if let's say the tide is high, we can start the pump and suck the water out of the system very quickly.
So Mr. Mayor, for example, right, in Controversies, they had a serious flooding when there was the last hurricane here in the tri-state area. And they installed a system where they had this place that was built that can hold thousands and thousands of gallons of water. And what they will do is that there is something in the river, a pump in the river, and once that river reaches a certain level, it will take the water from the river and put it into storage. And it keeps pumping that water and keeping it in storage and keeping it in storage. So it never passes a certain level as far as the river bank is concerned. And once it subsides, they then regenerate that water. Some of the water they recycle, and then they regenerate that water and put it back into the system. Does Trinidad and Tobago have something like that?
Absolutely not. However, I'll tell you, I've been to Denmark, I've been to Sweden, I've seen where they have underground tanks, and they pull the water into the tanks. They have hundreds of thousands of gallons, and they release the water slowly over time. What they've also done is they've utilized, like you see, like how we have the hollows in the savannah or playing fields. They use them as temporary reservoirs whenever there's heavy rain. So the water ends up on the field. The only thing that there's no damage to the field anyhow, and they clean up the field thereafter, and it becomes a play field once again. And so they have found creative ways to do that. We can do something similar because we are a tropical country. Like the savannah there's an aquifer under it, and also the Nelson Mandela Park. So the thing about it is that we can do things. We just have to become a little more creative about it, and some things may not cost that much money.
So what I've been suggesting. Go
ahead, Gary.
Yeah. We were having a conversation while you got locked out there, but what I've been suggesting, I mean, I've spoken to 𝗏𝗁 and also I've spoken to Mr. Lee Hunt when I think his internet froze. Answer.
No, he's still there. He's still there.
For me?
Go ahead, Gary.
I'm here.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. So what I've been suggesting is, and I've spoken to Mr. Lee Hunt when he was the Minister of Utilities, and also 𝗏𝗁.
Yes. And he was the Minister of Public Utilities.
Yeah. So we had a good conversation of devoting the water and into creating a water storage facility that we can utilize that water throughout the year when there's droughts and stuff like that. So what we need to work on, and I've been suggesting, is that we start intercepting the water high up the hills, like those infrastructure that was put up there that created drainage, so that all the water don't come gushing down on you like an avalanche, into the city. So what we start doing is we start creating parallel drains to divert the water. You intercept it at a few sectors. That's just one drain where all the water starts dumping, but you have several drains parallel to the mountainside. We start intercepting that water and try to divert it into some kind of a storage or sub-storage facilities where WASA can, reprocess that water and supply the city. But we need to create not just the retention, but the storage and reprocessing plants to work alongside it. So there has to be a combination of ministries and engineers collaborating with you on that. It's not something that it's more costly to ignore it. So I think the preventative might be more feasible. They might say so much money to spend now, but when you look at it in the long term.
Well, let me put something to you. The local government, well, you're talking about a ministry doing something, right? Because local government
in collaboration
has no
with
funding
local
to do things like that, right?
In collaboration with local government.
Right.
I mean, you have to have a sit down with local government and the Ministry of Works and the other ministries and say, listen, this is what we think should be done, and flush out the issues there. It can't be totally up to local government.
Now, good, and I agree with you. We've had a number of plans. When I came into office, I was able to get my hands on about 3 or 4 flooding plans that were done prior to my time, numbers of years apart. And when I looked through those drawings, I'm not an engineer, but when I looked through the drawings and I was able to read and look at the plans and check the diagrams and understand a little bit of what was going on, I realized that everybody was saying basically the same thing. They were just taking a different approach to it. And I said to myself, and then I met with the IDB, and I went up to Washington, met with the president of the IDB, had a conversation. They were willing to give us $120 million US to be able to deal with flooding in the lower part of Port of Spain. But at that point in time, we had just come into office as a government, and it was difficult we were paying a lot of bills, and we were trying our best to just keep our head above water. So we could not even access an additional loan at that point in time that was offered by the IDB. I went back to them, I told them that, and they said, well, you know what? We'll give it to you at almost no interest, which is like 1%. And we could not even access that opportunity then. And that was a good time for us to really spend some money on the infrastructure with regard to flooding. But is that we couldn't access it? We've done a number of studies. It is not it's not new. We all have an idea as to what to do. We have a lot of relationships with the Dutch and so on, who understands water, and that I am also developing a relationship with Shanghai and their infrastructure, and they're willing to assist from an engineering capacity and things like that. So you know what, we have opportunities that we can tap into. It's just that now economically it's really a tough time, and so we have to catch ourselves first. But as you said, any new development taking place, we implore them to look at their drainage footprint a little bit better than we looked at it.
Are you hearing me, Mr. Mayor? No?
Gary, I don't think he's hearing you. I don't think he's hearing you.
I have to come out and come back in.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, there's a question. Someone says, what happened to the study done in the late 70s? There's a question a person asks, Albert Montana asks, what happened to the study done in the late 70s by Mr. 𝗵𝗻𝗄 Engineering about flooding in Port of Spain nearly 50 years?
Mr. Millet's study was one of the plans that I looked at. It's there on a shelf.
It's on the shelf. Why is it sitting on the shelf?
Was Millet? What?
You waiting for an answer, you waiting for an answer.
What's Millet?
Is he love the answer?
Why is anything on a shelf?
Okay.
Dear.
All right. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Mayor, also we see a big controversy in Mandela Park, and
just to put it another way, I am the mayor now about 4 years, 4.5 years, right? I have seen it. I have looked at a lot of plans. Believe it or not, you would not believe the amount of things I've looked at. And I see that we've done study already. We have already invested in that. Sometimes all you have to really do now is execute. But again, to execute requires funding.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have tax. We lost it. We're trying to get it back now. Had we had property tax, maybe we could have been, the government could have mandated that 20% of our property tax that we receive, we must put it towards infrastructure for the next 10 years.
Mm. So, Mr. Mayor, what we're going to do, right? We normally go for a quick station identification at the top of the hour. It's now about 7:57. So we're going to go for a quick station identification, and we're going to be right back. So if you can stick and stay with us, we're going to go for a quick station identification. It's only about 30 seconds. Of course, it's in the village with the 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and WZYE 95.9 FM. We have with us the Honorable Mayor of Port of Spain, Mr. Joel Martinez. We're calling him Mr. Mayor, and he's been with us, and he's been sharing information with us about things that are going on in Trinidad. So let's go for a quick station identification. I'll be right back. Stick and stay, Mr. Mayor. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
And of course, we are back with you. It's in the village with the 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. And we have the Honorable Mayor of Port of Spain with us, Mr. Joel Martinez. So Mr. Mayor, straightforward question, right? They were going to put turf in Mandela Park, all right? And there were some questions about some type of salesman, that was made by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Mayor, in this country and United States of America, turf is significantly important from a recreation perspective. And the reason why they installed turfs in many parks is because turf allows you to have recreation for longer hours and distract the kids from doing other things. I thought it was a great idea to put a turf field in Mandela Park. And I actually went around to 4 different parks here in New Jersey just to show, what they have done with their parks, right? Is that turf situation in Trinidad with Mandela Park dead? Did you hear me?
I'm not hearing you. You broke up tremendously.
All right, so let me see if you hear me now. Are you hearing me now?
I'm trying to see if I can change my location to hear you a little bit better.
Okay, all right. Are you hearing me now?
You're breaking up. Yes, you're very faint. And,
how about there?
Let me change my location.
Okay, all right.
And see if I can get better response.
Better service, right? Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah.
We're hearing you.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah.
We're hearing you.
Don't move.
There we go. Are you hearing us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
yes.
We're hearing you. Very good.
All right. Can you hear?
Yes, we're hearing you. Are you hearing us?
Lost. He was on a location just now.
Very faint still.
Okay.
So try your question. Let me if I can hear you any better.
All right. So we were talking about turf fields, right? And the situation at Mandela Park. Did you hear that?
It's frozen.
Yeah, it's frozen.
It's internet.
Yeah.
So it's not with me. Let me take my camera off and see if I get a better reception.
Okay.
No,
that's all right.
Not happening. Right. Okay.
His location.
So are you hearing us now? Let's try it. Are you hearing us?
Any better?
We are hearing you, but are you hearing us?
I'm seeing you all, and I'm seeing you all.
Are you hearing us?
I'm hearing you a little bit better now. Let me hear you.
Okay, so we were talking about the turf field at Mandela Park, which was an idea that was rejected by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. in the United States of America and in New Jersey here, if you go to almost all the parks in New Jersey, well, I just went to 4 parks, and each one of those parks have at least 1 or 2 turf fields because of recreation purposes. Because recreation purposes is significantly important in many of these communities. Because with turf field, you can have more activities on those fields for a longer period of time, and the weather doesn't affect it as much. Rain, snow, or if it's snow, they just can come and just clean it off and still activities. I don't know if you hear that, but the rejection of that proposal for Mandela Park, is it done? Is it over with? You'll never have a turf field in Mandela Park?
I'm not hearing it.
Well, just talk about turf field at Mandela Park that was rejected by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Unmute your mic.
All right. So I'm muting my I'm muting my mic to hear you on my computer, and then I will answer on my mic.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So we were talking about the turf field at Mandela Park in New Jersey. Almost, let me don't say all, most of the parks have turf fields in New Jersey because turf fields is significant for recreational purposes in that it's less expensive to maintain, right? You can play more sports on that field for longer periods of times. You know, the weather doesn't really affect it that much. If there's snow, you could easily clean it. You guys don't have snow in Trinidad, but we do. There's more rain in Trinidad. Why was that turf field rejected by the Prime Minister in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, I don't think he's fair. I don't think.
All right, let's take him out and come back in, right?
Yeah, see if he's there.
I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Oh boy.
Always.
Always, boy. Are you hearing us?
Can you hear? No.
Yes.
Yeah, we're hearing you now.
Hearing you.
Are you hearing us?
Okay, good. So you asked me why was it rejected by the Prime Minister?
Yes.
The fact that I wouldn't say the Prime Minister rejected it. What I would say is that that were put to us basically, and I would say unsolicited proposals over the years. What had happened was they were, even in the Louis leasing times, there were people who put an AstroTurf proposal for part of Mandela Park because we didn't want to start anything or spend any money on a set of research to find out that it was not a good idea. So we decided that we will consult with the stakeholders first, hear what they have to say, and then we will move forward based on the concept that we can put something of that nature in the park and earn some revenue for the corporation. I will also explain to you that most of the people who play hockey are women, and I would say 80% of the people that play hockey live in the Port of Spain area, but they have to drive to Tacarigua to play hockey in the night and come to Port of Spain. And ask us over the years, can we look at an option like that? Because there was no AstroTurf facility in the city of Port of Spain. So we thought that having the park that would basically go until 10 o'clock in the night because of lights. The tennis can go 10. People sweat around within the park around 10. People walk around the park until 10 o'clock in the night, and they use the play area and the exercise equipment and that sort of thing. So we thought, well, look, you know what? Let's hear from the public, hear what they have to say. But we got such a negative feedback from the public that it started to create some, I believe, political issues along the line, and a lot of people did not seem to favor the idea of the park. So what we decided to do then was, let's say, well, okay, let's shelve it. And then the Prime Minister got in touch with me, and we spoke about it. And I said, I'm going to shelve it. And from there on, we moved towards it. And that was it, basically.
Mr. Mayor, I hope it don't end up in the same shelf like those other plans that end up. Those other plans that we talked earlier that end up on that same shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it don't. I hope this plan don't end up on that same shelf, because we talk about this was something that we talk on the flooding shelf you have now.
You know when people tell you they don't want something, they don't want billet.
But Mayor, is it because, Mr. Mayor, is it because the people don't understand?
I think that the people did not, the citizens didn't fully understand what we were trying to explain. And I think that some people jumped on the fact, they jumped on the negative factor too early and didn't get a chance to listen, and they didn't. So, I mean, and it's not the right time.
So, Mr. Mayor, someone asked a question. We know that you're a finance person. Someone asked a question. Mm-hmm. Do you support the government policy with respect to the liquidation of CL Financial Limited?
With regard to what?
CL Financial Limited.
Do I support the government policy in relation to
liquidation of CL Financial Limited? The government has CL Financial in liquidation. Do you support that policy?
First of all, CL Financial is a company ran into financial difficulty. They couldn't afford. They had cash, and from what I understand, they couldn't demand, and the government them out, and they covered financial. Is that you had assets in there that were very, very good. Some were good, some were not so good, and some were bad. So just like any other organization, I think CL Financial tried to do too much at a point in time when they should have maybe released their. I don't know. I didn't get into accounting aspect of financial. Whatever point government would have seen and acted based on what information was presented to them.
Okay, yeah.
You're breaking. I get your question, yeah. Prime Minister. If you had something to say.
If government did not be out financial,
it's frozen again.
Frozen again, folks. Frozen again.
Connectivity.
Yeah. Are you still here now, sir?
I'm not getting you at all.
Oh, you're not getting us at all.
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I'm hearing a little bit better, yes.
Okay, go ahead, try answer.
Okay, are you hearing me better now? Are you hearing me better? Well,
you're still coming over, you know.
All right.
I said Ansel, put us in the background, and then you and him stay on and see what.
No. It's just him. It's just him in the forefront. Nobody else is in it. Yeah, it's just internet. But Mr. Mayor, at some point in time, man, when a company goes into liquidation, at some point in time they come out of liquidation, and the government gets out of their business. It seemed to me that, CL Financial is in a liquidation, and it doesn't appear that the government wants CL Financial to come out of liquidation.
I'm not hearing you at all. If you send me, I have another phone. If you send me the link on my other phone, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a connection. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a connection. It's a connection. Diana, can you get off and talk with him, and we can try to do it on the other phone?
Okay.
Try the other phone, Mr. Mayor. Okay. All right, Diana. Mr. Mayor, Diana is going to get in contact with you so we can do it on your other phone, if we can.
All right. I'm struggling.
So, folks, what we're going to do is that we're going to try to see if we could get him on another phone. Diana will liaise with him. And, guys, we see all your questions, and we want to ask questions. Let me just say hello to some people here in the village. Darren Prasad. Darren, welcome. Rose, welcome. I think I already tell Ray Stelt welcome. Ellis Laborde. Ellis, he almost had a name like my last name, Ellis Laborde. Almost, Ellis Laborde. JB Harper, boy. JB says somebody does want us out the matrix, boy. No joke, yes. My dog said cheese sticks, but no, the man only losing connection when he getting asked a question. Oh God, my dog, all ain't easy, what? Yeah. Ray still sit down. Randy MC says CL Financial was a financiers of PNM party. Who do you expect to bail them out? The UNC? But run. When you bail out a company, right? At some point in time, the company gets out of a bailout, right? For example, they bail out AIG, and at some point in time, the government sold AIG back to private investors. Okay? They don't stay in bailout for years upon years. CL Financial been in a bailout since 2009. And to me, the reason why they're not bailout so long, boy, somebody eating nice, but the liquidators was paid $9 million US. $9 million. The auditors was paid $224 million, right? And when we were here, that's what we were asking Mr. Mariano Brown, right? Janice Martinez Davis. Where are you joining us from, Janice? Please put, and always say welcome to Janice. Albert Montano says, Ansem, do you want to get the mayor fired? No, the mayor have a good work, Rose says, too much easy question being asked. Sure. Wait, Ellis Laborde say, your PNM under slip showing. Oh, it's got PNM under slip showing. All you could ask question here. I have a whole set of questions here, Whole set of question. JB Appa says the superior of insurance was a toothless bulldog in the matter with CL. I don't understand that one, huh? And that mannerism, how you're sounding annoyed, so convenient with this Ray Stelt. No, sir. Your boss cause you stink. Question to Mr. Mayor. Yolanda, we couldn't get the question, so JB says, who's responsible for the Salvatore building car park? And was it best to have a multi-story car park that will provide revenue for the city? Okay, we can ask him that. Ulrich say you have one of the 1% there. Ulrich always have one, boy. Ray Stout said, boy, man, you ain't see he play just now? The man was in a good location, and all of a sudden, he moved to a known location. Right there. Hey, right? And fellas, it was ain't easy, though, boy. Gary, I had you back.
Yeah, I want to stay focused on issues relevant to the mayor and the city of Port Spain. We have some issues we got to raise about the vendors and stuff like that too. So,
Yeah, I added him. I sent him the new link to his new number. So let's see if I don't know. So we'll see.
I don't think SCL Financial has anything to do with his level.
No. Gary, it does. Trust me, it does. It absolutely does. Absolutely, it does. Right? You may not want to answer it, but it does.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
Gary, those are very important questions.
Yeah, but he's local government. He's not on the national government level.
No,
I mean, even though he's in the main city.
But where was CL Financial located?
Trust me.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the mayor so much. It more has to do with the government, the central government interference.
Anselm knows something you don't know.
Trust me, Gary. That's what I would say. Trust me. JB Harper say you will come back, providing you don't get a call from Balize House first.
No, but listen to me. He has been very straightforward so far. He's not beating around the bush as far as I can see.
JB, you're getting in trouble for that. Let me put JB quote on the thing, eh? Oh no. Let me put JB thing on the quote on the screen. JB, you're getting in trouble for that too. You see let's see how your name showing up bright. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm telling you. JB, the man was a former insurance agent, 𝗧𝘂𝗲𝗍𝗃. Oh, they don't mess out of talk, eh? Because now the man ain't gonna come back to. Look, Lana say, look how big them things showing up on the screen now. Let's see him. Ask Mr. Hey, you know what I could do? Instead of me just asking the questions, I go tell them look on the screen and answer the question, so they could see who asking the question. Sometimes I just think is I asking the question. Somebody in the chat, we just run the MC say we gain them softball questions. I ain't seen no softball question the man get yet. Diana, you see, Ron is just a troublemaker, man. Who waste the time with Ron? But the Robert City mayor going to the toilet.
Oh Lord, you all give him diarrhea.
She sticks it, and Ian mentioned something today about a batch of Sinopharm vaccine was used and were expired 4 days ago now.
Oh dear.
She stick, how you know that? What the facts Ian have about that? The man trying to connect again. He's trying to connect. He's really trying to connect.
It's his connectivity. A lot of people probably on his internet line there.
But I don't know about that,
Oh boy. You're right. Every time we have somebody important.
You know, Ray Stelz, answer. I bet you could answer those questions on your own. I ain't gonna say. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. That's what Ray Stelz say. Right?
Oh, I like this one. Lana said investors should invest in small boats due to flooding in Port of Spain. About open boat tax and open boat taxi. That's a good idea, Lana.
Nah, but let me ask you all a question, Jude. All you really think they just do something to the internet for them people who just come by?
Yeah.
All you feel so true?
Ain't somebody said Pegasus is in Trinidad?
Yeah. Pegasus is in Trinidad.
Okay then. I done talk.
Yo, Ulrich, you sure about that?
You jam his phone.
Ulrich say one phone. No, Ulrich, I don't know about that. I mean, I have what kind of question? I had a question. Lana, Lana. Oh God. Olen easy now. Oh God.
The mayor is a very open-minded guy. I made some suggestion. I had communicated with him I think it was last year before this COVID thing come down, and he was very agreeable on what I was saying. So he's a very open-minded guy. He's not like the rest of them. So
to me,
he's not the usual PNM.
Yeah, to me, coming across open. He's not coming across like he's trying to dodge nothing.
Yeah,
yeah. You're flinging questions at him and he take it and fling.
I flinging questions. I'm a set of questions here. And I want to fling question and run talking about I'm going soft. I about 10 questions to fling at the man, you know. But I try to fling all your questions before I fling my questions. You know what I mean?
But
I want
yeah,
all the questions to be
we want to make sure we get the main questions across to him before he goes. Like, you know, like I said,
I want to fling all your questions.
But he hijack.
Yeah.
So we might have to bring him back when he get better connectivity. I don't know.
But I want to say we always have so much problem just so by.
No, but there is that genuine problem in Trinidad with the internet across the board. A lot of people are having issues.
And depending on where he's situated, when you see all that water and thing.
The flood must have caused more problems too.
Underground line.
Or when we are watching you, we don't get a problem.
But he's
Tobago above ground.
Huh?
Tobago above ground.
But listen, all of them, we had Dr. Winsford James, we had Dr. Vanis James, we had Dr. 𝗪𝗍𝗆 Israel. We had plenty people from.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying the recent flood could be a genuine issue, could or could not be. But there is some problems with the internet. And to tell you the truth, from the time Dr. Rowley take office, it was problems begin with the internet. They said messing with the phone system, they upgraded and they really downgraded by what they was doing. You know, so
you sure you know what you're saying, Gary?
I'm telling you, I saw that happening. There was several issues started to take place. Very suspicious activity.
It may have been coincidental.
It was coincidental when we discovered they were deliberately locking off the valve for the water for the people when we took office in 2010. Was that coincidence?
Oh dear. Answer, we may have to move on and get him another day.
Well, he's trying to connect still, you know.
He's still
trying to connect. I mean, I honestly believe that the guy was upfront enough. He took
and came with some integrity.
He came in to talk about whatever we want to talk about. We didn't give him no questions. We didn't send him no questions. And we asked him questions. We think questions that's important to you guys and questions important to us. You know? You should see Run the MC.
I see him.
They started to fix the phone lines in the country when they took office, boy. They really started to fix it. They fixed it good.
I won't doubt if PNM interviewed people into. Ray, what facts you have about that, man? All they like this propaganda stuff, eh? Look at this one. It's all they like propaganda, man. Too much propaganda. Right? But anyway, we have okay, guys, we actually have. Let's go to our next guest. We have to deal with the mayor at some other point in time. So we have guests fast and furious coming into the village.
Diana sent a message that we'll bring him back now.
Yeah,
okay, I'll go.
Bring him back because the internet real bad. Right. So let's go to our next guest here in the village. Hey, I see Mark Daniel. You know where Mark Daniel? Well, Ulrich. Albert Montana say, Alsam, don't buy that disruption. It's planned. So, guys, let's bring in our next guest here. Let's add our next guest here, straight from Tobago. No other than Miss Denise, Dr. Denise Tsoiafatt Angus. How are you doing tonight?
I am good. A pleasant good night to everyone.
Pleasant good night to you as well. And we want to say thank you so much for joining us in the Village with the Dark Triplets. And it's called In the Village with the Dark Triplets. That's DAG triplets. The D is for Diana. Diana is considered to be the storm. The A is Ansem. Ansem is considered to be Wall Street or Flash. And then G is Gary, who is considered to be the Phantom. And then we have with us also Tommy. Tommy is considered the outside child, and the ladies in the chat call him the love child. so we got all these superlatives out of the way. Let me just add back Diana in here.
So,
Diana, welcome back.
Good.
So that is Diana, Anslem, Gary, and
Tommy.
Right. Pleased to meet you.
Right. And
good evening.
Right. So we like to first find out, do you like us to refer to you as Dr. Angus, Dr. Tsoiafatt Angus, Dr. Denise, or Dr. Denise
anyone you feel comfortable with? It really doesn't, you know.
Okay, good.
People know me by different handles, so it really.
So that's good. That's good. So we see that a new party has popped up in Tobago. So just talk to us about, you know, what brought you to that point of deciding that you wanted to form your own party there in Tobago?
Well, you know, it's been a while that, you know, I've had a vision for, you know, since getting into politics, for improving the quality of lives of people and, you know, expanding that into all sectors and all areas, and perhaps even now so with a focus on business and the private sector. And so it really was about that in terms of having the opportunity to do it. Coming out of the January elections, I was approached and we came together as a group, and a number of us decided that, you know, this is where we're going to head. So that's where we are now.
So normally, Dr. Angus, we have questions from people in the chat as well. Someone says,
absolutely.
It says, what happened to you and the 𝗧𝗂𝗃 and PNM party?
What do you mean, what happened?
Well, we know before you were, and for transparency, I'm a supporter of the People's National Movement. Okay, and we have people here who support no party. Some people support the UNC previously. So we have all different people here in the village. You know, this is not just a program that's pro or anti any party in Trinidad and Tobago. We are pro-country in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
And that's most important.
Right.
So I guess the person wants to know, being that you form a new party and you was previously a PNM, what exactly happened with you and the PNM party? What was the fallout with respect to you and the PNM party? Or wasn't a fallout and you just decided you wanted to go in a different direction?
I think there was differing of ideology along the pathway. I truly believe in representation through listening to the voices of the people, because that is what democracy is all about. So we differed, you know, along that path, and, you know, I just decided that, you know, perhaps it is better that we part ways, and that happened in January, the initial part of it. And therefore, the progression is not where we are now.
Somebody else asked, Dr. Denise, are you still a member and support the PNM even though you are in a new party?
Sorry?
Somebody asked, Dr. Denise, are you still a member and support the PNM even though you are in a new party?
No, because it was noted to me that there's part of the Constitution, I believe, Article 22, that speaks to disciplinary action, and that the moment I stepped out in January, that I was automatically expelled. So I'm not a member of the People's National Movement.
Okay, all right. Now, we see a news story today, Dr. Angus. The headline reads, 𝗧𝗂𝗃, 𝗧𝘂𝗲𝐵 Hospital, unsuitable for COVID ICU. The Tobago Regional Health Authority says it has ruled out using the newly built 𝗧𝘂𝗃 Hospital to increase COVID-19 intensive care unit treatment in Tobago. Speaking at the Tobago Health Update media briefing on August 5th, Medical Chief of Staff, Dr. 𝗧𝘂𝗲𝗄𝐿, said the facility is too far from 𝗪𝗏𝑚𝑜 Hospital, where patients are treated. Can you talk a little bit about that with respect to the 𝗧𝘂𝗃 Hospital being unsuitable for COVID ICU? I mean, it's a new hospital, isn't it?
It is a new hospital, and I would have expected that this new hospital, as every hospital is defined, that a hospital will have capacity for an ICU. So I am not sure why they cannot consider utilizing that facility unless it is also an issue where the facility itself has not been fully commissioned, and or the fact that they may not have the human resource or the manpower to man such a facility.
So, so what's the purpose of the hospital then? Because, you know, I mean, COVID-19 is very prevalent in Tobago. Now, what's the purpose of the hospital if they really can deal with COVID-19?
It is, and those numbers are, you know, quite high when you look at the number of cases, as we would say, per capita as compared to elsewhere. The numbers are high, and you know, they have to begin looking. I don't know if they have gotten ahead of the curve and been able to control it, but if not, they do have to look at alternatives. Like I said, I'm not sure why the hospital has been opened for so long, but they have not fully commissioned or opened yet. So
another
they have a commissioning ceremony, but it really is not open for business. Yeah.
Another person in the chat asks, what are your perspectives on the current results of the THA elections? By the way, before you answer that, can your party compete in the upcoming election?
Yes. The name of my party is the Innovative Democratic Alliance, and we will be competing in the upcoming Tobago House of Assembly elections whenever it is called.
All 15 seats?
Yes.
All 15 seats, okay. And what seat are you going to run for, and who will be your opposition for the PDP and the PNM, if you know?
Well, I do have many options, and that depends on what candidates we have. And we have not decided where that will be yet. As soon as that has been decided, everyone will know.
Did you run for a seat previously under the PNM?
No, I never ran for a seat under the People's National Movement, no.
Oh, okay. Great.
No, my first run was as an independent, where I gained 25% of the votes, as compared to the person who won. And that person who won was the incumbent who has been there for the last 4 years and was heavily campaigning 3 months before. I only came out 2.5 weeks before and gained 25% of those votes and was able to retain my deposit. So I did quite well.
I have a question for Dr. Angus.
Go ahead, Anna.
Dr. Angus, this is Diana. Tobago is now at a sort of a crossroads. They are trying to get autonomy to release themselves from that stranglehold Trinidad has on them. Do you think another political party in the bucket at this time wouldn't that pull votes away from possible, you know, a clean sweep for another party that seems to be doing well and cause further division?
No, because if we are looking for greater democracy, should you have a clean sweep? That a clean sweep is not the best thing for democracy. And so I feel that the people at this point spoke clearly in January, where they said we are uncertain. We don't know if we want the new party. We know that maybe we want to leave the old party, but we are in flux over it. And so that is a period of uncertainty that we live now. And I think that it is well timed to have another option for persons.
So someone asked this question, right? And I think I have to paraphrase this question. It says, if Dr. Angus win a seat, are you going to bargain with the PNM? So, I mean, I think what the person is trying to say that if it's a 7-7 tie and your party should win one seat, right? That will give you a decision that who you're going to support. Are you going to support the PDP or are you going to support the PNM?
No, I am not even going to entertain that question. I mean, we are running 15 seats. We are well poised to actually win the election. And so the question becomes, which one of them will be willing to work with us if it becomes a tie? I am always open to work with people who have Tobago's best interests at heart, and that doesn't favor one side or the next, because it is whoever I consider to have Tobago's best interests at heart. And it may not be a party, but it may be individuals who consider that they want to work with us.
Now, Dr. Angus, what is your position currently on self-governance for Tobago? Are you in agreement with what's going on in the parliament and the position that the PNM has put forward, or is it something differently for your party?
No, I disagree with what has been put forward currently, because there was a position taken in, I think it was 2016 or 2017, somewhere around there, where persons across Tobago came together and made a decision. This is what they want being submitted on behalf of Tobago. My review of what has been put forward has really not addressed many of those issues, and therefore it is not about what I want or what the IDA wants, but we are championing what the people said they wanted in that document that went forward to Trinidad.
No,
and mind you, that document was sent forward under the PNM administration, so I don't know why it has not been pretty much approved in the majority of issues that were requested.
Now, do you see your party having any additions to what's been put forward that can maybe enhance what's in Trinidad and Tobago, or that's basically a done deal?
The amendments,
yes, the amendments.
we were not invited to be a part of it because I was not a party then, and they only, or even though I ran as an independent, they only invited political parties to sit around the table. So I've not been part of those discussions. However, I think we need to start looking at the bigger picture, which is how are we in Tobago preparing ourselves for greater autonomy. If this doesn't come, we have a challenge on our hands with the way the current economy is being, run, and therefore our party will begin to focus on what I call creating a modern society with prudent management of Tobago's resources. And we're not just talking about the slim resources that may be coming from Trinidad over the next couple of years because of the post-COVID challenge impact on our economy, but we're talking about the resources across the island and ensuring that we can maximize those resources while we continue to protect and preserve, the environment. Also looking at a focus on building a thriving private sector. One of our challenges in Tobago is that we don't have a thriving private sector, and a private sector that has been hit really hard with this COVID situation. But even before that, we were having issues with our economy prior to that. And therefore, we have to have an approach that focuses on rebuilding that private.
So today I announce
into an area of being thriving. And, when we have that, the private sector then can create more jobs. Everyone continues to complain that they cannot have enough jobs within the Tobago House of Assembly. And that is reasonable. But you have to provide jobs in some way to our people. And therefore, when you empower and have the thriving private sector, you expect them to not just provide jobs for themselves, but also for additional persons in the community. And so, we continue with our focus on preparing our people, preparing the people through literacy development, addressing the literacy levels on the island, and even instilling the entrepreneurial spirit into persons and giving them that support system that they need in order to develop adequately and have, small business grow into medium, into larger businesses. And yes.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
And also, we need to have a manufacturing sector on the island. We do not have a significant manufacturing sector on the island, and we need to do that, because we need to consider that our population size cannot support businesses. We need to start looking more at the export market beyond our shores. That is the larger market that we need to be looking at. But if you don't have sectors geared towards manufacturing, then when you begin supplying, you may find that you begin to run out. You can't supply enough for the demand. So there needs to be an organization, a reorganization of how we do business, even within the agricultural sector. That for me is currently untapped. The rich soil that we have in Tobago, I believe that it is totally untapped where agriculture is concerned, but we need to find ways of bringing technology into it so that our young people feel comfortable to go into that area as a career and be able to provide not just enough to feed ourselves, but produce an industry that feeds, others beyond our shores.
Now, Dr. Angus, when you made the announcement that your new party was going to be running in the upcoming election, Mr. 𝗲𝘂𝐿𝐿, the leader of the PDP, had a press conference, and I don't want you to just listen to it and give us your take on what Mr. 𝗲𝘂𝐿𝐿 had to say. Take a listen.
Dr. Denise Tsoiafatt creating a party out of spite for the PDP, out of envy for where the PDP has reached as an organization, and because she's part of the mafiosi code, she's therefore sent out as a decoy to distract Tobagonians into voting PNM. I want to say today that Dr. Denise Tsoiafatt is a dead horse, and she is contaminated by association. She has been with the PNM for many years. She was there when Kelvin Charles was removed as an elected chief secretary to place a child king. Yes, she was there when Tobago had no vote. She was there when the deal was made with that piece of land down the road, where they bought a piece of land for big money and built a building that costing us big money. She was there. She had been a pillar of the PNM, and now to come out and wash her hands and to say that she's running a political organization that different from the PNM is a no-no for most Tobagonians. We have.
What do you say, Dr. Angus?
Say to what?
To what's the Duke's statement?
There's nothing to say, really. There's nothing to say. I think the people of Tobago just want to know, what are we going to do for them? For too long, they have been, not having their needs met. So
I have a question.
We're going to focus on.
I have a question for you, Ms. Dr. Angus. So if you have Tobago's interest at heart, why not join with the PDP?
No, that's not that's not possible.
Why is that not possible?
No.
Country before party.
Yeah, but we have choice. And, to me, Tobago didn't overwhelmingly vote for either side. Yeah?
But
so that
the
says
PDP,
to me, people were not convinced. The people were not convinced that is where they want to go.
The PDP gained more seats from the last time. So it shows that they are encroaching upon PNM's territory, and the people are not happy with, the long-time incumbent. So, wouldn't you be a better force to contend with if you were joined with the PDP?
No, I think we have different ideologies. As you could see from that video, we definitely would have a different way of campaigning. And so I can't, I would not join under a banner. If at the end of it, there are persons who like to work with us, we don't mind working with people. But No.
So someone asks, what is your opinion? Dr. Angus, someone asks, what is your opinion on the way the leadership of the PNM is running the country? Yeah, Dr. Angus, someone asks, what is your opinion on the way the leadership of the PNM is running the country?
The country or the island?
Well, I mean Trinidad and Tobago. Both Trinidad and Tobago. What is your opinion on the way the leadership of the PNM is running the country? Trinidad and Tobago.
I do believe different decisions could have been made in respect of how we have managed this COVID situation. I believe that we, research and review of other islands in terms of how they have handled to maintain their borders being open and keep their economy going could have been looked at and see how we can apply them here, because the draconian measures that we have had have pretty much crippled the economy. There are many business people who are closing their doors, who have not seen any way that they can reopen after this situation is over. And I don't know how we're going to climb out of this hole, but it is going to take prudent management and people who understand business from being in a business background to be able to pull this back on track. And that is why Tobago needs to see for itself in the next 4 years, because we don't know how much money we may be even given. And therefore, we have to think creatively about how we are going to developing for ourselves a private sector to contribute to a bouncing economy that would take us back out of these sad times.
Dr. Angus, Diana again.
Yes, Dan.
Tobago, right? So it's a beautiful island. I've been there many, many, many times. I've never voted in my birthplace, which is Trinidad, because I migrated early. Let's say I came back home. I wanted to choose someone to vote to vote. Convince me that I should vote for you.
Well, Diane, that is one thing that we have not entertained enough in Tobago. How to bring the diaspora and invite them to return and contribute significantly to our growth and development. In order for Tobago to expand and grow, we have to collaborate more. We have to connect more with our brothers and sisters across the waters. For too long, when persons leave home, it's almost as if they have become a foreigner to us. Instead of us seeing that you are indeed an extension of us, and therefore you can perhaps share knowledge with us to help us grow faster and to, improve our status, in terms of where we are. And we are looking towards ensuring that there is an easier platform for persons to come back and, become part of this society once more, because your experience and knowledge is important to us. And so that part of it, you want to come back, and you also want to see a Tobago that has been thriving and flourishing, and not just in the landscape as you drive and see all the buildings, but certainly from the people perspective, expanding our minds, understanding that we have expanded minds, we have an expanded vision, and being, able to appreciate the modern society that you walk into as you arrive. And like I said, I keep stressing, it's not about the buildings, but it's about the people.
Well, I got to say this, right? We here in the diaspora have been dealing with the PNM, and we have been totally ignored by the PNM. Totally ignored. And I'm a PNM supporter. ideas that I have put on the table as a PNM supporter for long years, the PNM have totally ignored my ideas, every single idea. As a matter of fact, you know, I need to go play for the West Indies because I'm making a lot of duck with the PNM, plenty duck, and it's not duck that I could cook.
Well, you would be happy to know that the IDA's constitution does have an arm for the international persons, you know, to have an international representative as part of our organization, because it is important to us to keep connected with the diaspora.
No. Well, you talking about the PNM? Have that?
No. The Innovative Democratic Alliance has that.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
That makes absolutely.
So if you would like to be the first one as part of our international arm, we would welcome you.
Yeah.
But as I said in my opening launch, the IDA is an open membership organization, because we want every Tobagonian, whether you reside on the island or not, to know that you are welcome to be a part of us.
But how come when you was a PNM, you didn't suggest that to them?
Ooh. How do you know I didn't?
No, no, it's a question, you know. You could,
yeah.
It's a question.
Like I said, ideologies differ. Ideologies differ. Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Angus.
Yes.
Dr. Tommy here. I know the party is focusing on Tobago at this particular time, but do you have any plans on expanding into Trinidad?
Did you
hear my question?
Yes, I was hearing it through the echo. Sorry. We want to focus on one area at a time. Yes. And so once we are finished with Tobago, we will make the assessment as to where we go next. Yes.
So on a follow-up to that, it says, if your party wins some seats, are you willing to join the PNM if they ask you to?
No, I think I answered that one already. Yes. And what I said is, we are winning the election. Yes. The question is whether they would want to join with us, or whether PDP would want to join with us. Yes. The Innovative Democratic Alliance, the name is built for forming alliances.
Yeah. Dr. Angus, can I say something? You were once a PNM, you're not a PNM. Does that say something about the party, the Red Party?
I mean, A.N.R. Robinson had a separate ideology, you know, from the PNM back in the day. He left, and you know, I'm doing the same thing. I left. Different people will have different interpretations about, you know, the whole situation, but the fact is, I am not a PNM. I am now a member of the Innovative Democratic Alliance, the party that will be taking part in the upcoming Tobago House of Assembly elections.
And Dr. Angus, what are some of the innovations that you have in mind for Tobago at this time?
Okay. You know, one of the major areas is really looking at the green economy and you know, going heavily into renewable energy in a big way. And, you know, for a long time, we have not even considered taking into consideration that we have hot sun most of the year, and how do we utilize that to assist us in terms of everything that we do. And therefore going heavily into renewable energy and partnering with our people in the communities to install solar panels. And for those who even have excess, maybe it is that we can partner with them to purchase energy from them. So that is one of the areas that we would look at. I think I mentioned the fact that we definitely want to go into heavily into providing technology to support our agricultural sector. The agricultural sector right now, it is too difficult for the farmers to get assistance to expand their role and to expand what they want to do in the agricultural sector. There are many technologies also out there that could assist us with producing more with less. And so we have to be able to explore those areas and bring it to our farmers, help them to connect with that. We need to ensure that our young professionals out there are not just put into jobs just to get a job, but that we truly have an assessment of the whole Tobago House of Assembly. If necessary, we have to create new jobs that could take us into a different area. You know, the areas of technology that we have not even been using in the Tobago House of Assembly to really maximize our efficiency as an organization. And therefore, looking at all of those areas would be definitely important. Like I said, because of the challenge with our economy, we have to focus on people and ensuring that people can not only feed themselves, but that they can begin to elevate their level of life, that the quality of life that they are living.
So, yes, Dr. Angus, top of the hour. We want you to stick and stay with us for a little short bit. We got to go for a quick station identification, and we'll be right back after this message. Of course, we have with us, you know, the political leader of the new party forming Tobago, the IDA, and she has pleasantly joined us tonight. So we're going to go for a quick station identification. And Dr. Angus, and the people in the chat have a lot of questions about PNM. They don't like me because I'm a supporter of PNM, but me and them is good friends.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
Of course, we are back with you. It's in the village with the 𝗪𝗪𝗪 on WZYE 95.9 FM. We have with us Dr. Denise Tsoiafatt Angus, the leader of the new party that was recently formed in Trinidad and Tobago, the IDA, and they're going to have 15 seats in the upcoming election, going up against the PNM and the PDP. Dr. Angus, somebody asked a question. What actions did Dr. Angus take while she was in the previous party to improve the lives of Tobagonians?
Okay, so as the Secretary of Community Development and Culture, I would have done a lot of things in that area in terms of programs and even mentoring young people. We created a program called the Youth and Culture, so that young people coming out of high school who didn't know what they wanted to do, but they loved the culture, that they could have been part of the organization of the different events for a year. So we hired them for a year and allowed them also to apply innovative techniques in helping us to evolve in the way we do festivals. And then after that year, some of them went off to university, some of them studied culture, some of them decided to do something different, but it gave them that year of, you know, exposure to have them truly decide what they wanted to do. In addition to that, I started the centenarian program on the island, you know, recognizing our elders in terms of the ages that they have gotten and celebrating with the family, because it takes a lot to nurture someone to get to 100 years old. And, you know, we had to pay recognition to that. Additionally, our vocational skills blossomed when I was there. making sure, because I believe in entrepreneurship, I believe in business, I believe in persons utilizing their hands and their skills to be able to do more. And so we were able to help a lot of persons improve in what they were doing, and exposure to developing new skills that they can then utilize as part of a business. When I was advisor in the health sector, I made sure that I was involved in the transfer of the old hospital to the new hospital, and we ensured that there were many systems in there to adequately treat with, and the move was safe. In addition to that, prior as chairman of the Tobago Regional Health Authority, when I was there, I ensured that it was not just doctors. When I first got there, it was just doctors who would get 25% on because they worked in Tobago. And so when we got there, we decided that doctors alone don't make a healthcare system. So we advocated to the THA that they include health professionals across the board, nurses and other allied health, so they too could now get the 25% on top of their salary just for working in Tobago, because we knew that there were not that many options for them to get into private practice as they were in Trinidad. And therefore, if they choose to come back home, then they should not be as disadvantaged as if they were living in Trinidad. So we had that there. So, I mean, I have done a lot in terms of assisting persons. That is why I left my practice to be able to impact lives, more lives in different ways. When I was in the office of the presiding officer, I ensured that we exposed our young people to get involved early in terms of speaking. We ran a program called, My First Speech, to get primary school students, involved in public speaking more. We used to do those in the past. We don't do them anymore now. And so we formulated that program, a new program launched. We also expanded the role of the students practicing as part of the annual parliament, our parliament in the legislature, for them to express themselves in there. So I have always been, committed to service and expanding that service and ensuring that Tobagonians have a right to benefit from the resources that are on the island. People would tell you from both sides, whether it's, opposition or in power, that I was very fair-minded in terms of how I ensured the resources were distributed. Currently, I ensure that we actually have a festival to celebrate because, it's important that people understand that when we put on these festivals, it's not just about spending money, but it's about investing in our people, investing in the creative sector. And therefore, if we don't have a festival, then our creative sector, which has been hit really hard during the COVID experience, will suffer even more.
So Dr. Denise, Dr. Angus, this is a question that's prevalent in Tobago. What's your thought on the zipline project? And I guess the controversy with respect to the zipline project. What's your thoughts on that?
I think the zipline project has been well ventilated in the public domain, and they really don't need my voice added to that.
But is there any? Do you have some say? You thought it shouldn't have happened. You thought things weren't done correctly.
Do I have some say in what?
No. Do you think some things could have been done differently? With the project. I mean, it seems like the project is still ongoing. Where does that project stand as we speak? Because I'm sure
if you've not had delivery of the project, then it needs a review. Something is wrong.
Okay. Now, how do you address, right, that many people, not many, some people will say that your party may be an agent for the PNM, as how they say the PDP is an agent for the UNC. How will you address that? Because that's something I know you're gonna have to address on the campaign trail.
The Innovative Democratic Alliance is an agent of the IDA. It's not an agent of the PDP. It's not an agent of the PNM. And both of them are pointing fingers on each side. So we are not an agent of anyone else except ourselves, IDA.
Well, guys, you guys heard it for yourself, right? So, you know, and because you know what happens is, Dr. Angus, sometimes the guy just step, the people in chat just say, man, you don't ask my question. So another person, okay, so, another question was, Dr. Angus, Tobago people are fed up with the PNM, and you are willing to work with whichever party wants to work with you. Do you think it will be fair if you, well, I think you answered this already. Do you think it will be fair if you join up with the PNM and betray the people?
No, you know, there's a difference with working with someone than joining up with someone. Yeah? I think the people were very upset when they voted 6-6 and they felt that neither of the two parties can work together. Yes? But working with the PNM or the PDP means that, you know, our ideologies have to somehow align, you know, and like I said, it may not be the party, but there may be individuals who are prepared to work with us, right? As long as we consider that they have Tobago's best interests at heart, you know, we are willing to talk, we are willing to collaborate, you know, we are willing to ensure that we do whatever to ensure that the quality of lives are served, because that's really what we are here for, to improve the quality of lives across the board.
This is not to you, Dr. Angus, but somebody just said this. This is really for Choice Smith said, yes, Wall Street, you're a true PNM, not like a get along, go along PNM girl. That's a side comment. Choice Smith, welcome.
Yeah, you know, when I came out of the independent elections, both sides says, oh, she's a PDP undercover. Oh, she's a PNM undercover. She's going to go one place or the next. I didn't, you know, and if it is one thing, I remain true to my voice. And people know in Tobago that they can trust me. That is one thing. My credibility is there on the island. People know that they can trust what I have to say. I am a trustworthy person. And when I gave my commitment to everyone in the field that no, I was not carrying my votes to the PNM, I was not carrying my votes to the PDP, I maintain that. I maintain that. And I continue to maintain.
But you know, that's a point. I think you need to address that point again, because I think people may have overlooked that you could have actually taken your votes to, or could that have been done? Because you really didn't win a seat, but you could have joined up at that point in time with the PDP or the PNM, right?
Yes. The new seats, I could have offered myself to go with either party with the new seats. Right. But that meant that I would have, you know, broken my word to the people who, when I campaigned out in the field, they told me they would give me the vote if I didn't go with PDP, and then others gave me the vote because I wouldn't go with PNM. So if I chose to now go to either side, what would have happened? My credibility would be shot. And my, you know, credibility is important to me. They say politics is a nasty game, but I intend to make sure that my credibility continues to stand.
So Dr. Angus, we always ask this question to everyone that comes into the village. If you have to send a message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, what would be your message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago?
But I don't know why. What is the role of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago in running for the THA elections?
No. What we do, what it's important, because he's the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and he could have an effect, you know, with respect to the amendment in the Parliament. You know, he has an effect. He's the Prime Minister of both Trinidad and Tobago currently right now. And if you had to send a message to the leader of your party, what would be the message you send to Dr. 𝗧𝗂𝗲𝘆 regarding self-governance for Tobago? Regarding self-governance for Tobago?
Well, I think I will go further than that because, you know, it goes beyond self-governance of Tobago. We may very well get self-governance and we can't even feed ourselves. So my message to Dr. Rowley is that he has to review the current policies that they're taking regarding the COVID experience and the impact on the economy. And he has to do something that would stimulate the private sector to then stimulate the economy, because we are in a bad shape. And the longer he continues to keep the country closed, it gets worse for us. We need to start looking at other islands where they have had their borders open. However, they have put, you know, strict protocols in place to have people come and go. But at the end of the day, people do come and go. And we have to figure out how we can get to that, because we have continued to have the draconian measures. Our numbers continue to rise more than they have. So it must mean that we have to study those models and see what we can take from it, and see how we could improve ourselves.
So, Dr. Angus, we want to say thank you so very kindly for taking this interview on such short notice. We really appreciate you. And is there any closing words you have before you go?
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. You know, I just want to say to the diaspora that even though you cannot vote physically, you do vote, because you still have families living in Tobago, and you want to be able to call them, you want to be able to cajole them, you want to be able to, you know, invite them to listen to a new way and to believe in something new, and therefore to place that vote on your behalf for the Innovative Democratic Alliance. I'm sure when you visit, you want to be able to come back to a Tobago that is exciting, that, you know, you can see progress in terms of the people and not just buildings. And therefore, I urge you to get involved, call your families, let them know that the IDA is the choice, that after 20 years, the Innovative Democratic Alliance is the party of choice. IDA is the party that they want to vote for a better Tobago and a new Tobago society, a modern society that could make us the flagship of the region, and even to be able to compete internationally with new educational programs for our children, giving them the diverse opportunities they need to develop, and not just the traditional way that we have done for years. So please, you are important to us, and we want you to get involved in the whole activities of the Tobago House of Assembly elections. I know your worth, and I'm inviting you and encouraging you, please get involved.
Dr. Angus, we want to thank you so very kindly for joining us. We really appreciate you joining us on such short notice. Thank you so very kindly.
And thank you so much for having me, Anselm.
Thank you very much. Take care now. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doc.
Bye-bye.
Good night, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
Oh, we was a little hard on the Doc, boy.
So,
Tommy, why ask the doctor such hard questions? What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
oh, I'm misbehaving. I gotta behave better next time, okay?
We have Doctor. I'm going to Doctor now. We have Rudy and that singing in the back, but Rudy, just listen to us for 2 minutes, all right? We see you. We know you're waiting. Just give you 2 minutes. I had to deal with some of these people here in the chat. You know, we had to deal with the chat. Rudy, I'm getting ready for them questions. I see Rudy smiling already, boy. Rudy say, are they already? Rudy have only Brazil shirt today. I think Brazil, I know Brazil made it to the final in the Olympics or what, but he ain't only yellow shirt today. Let me say a quick something to you. Ron DMC. I ain't reading nothing from Ron DMC.
Oh,
But you know, our constitutional structure does not cater for a three-party race. So it's really a two-horse race. Okay, and any third party serves as a spoiler in the benefit of the incumbent. All right. So
that is you might. That is why
she seems like a very nice lady and everything else, you know, but
she just come out of the thin air.
Just like that, and I mean, it reminds me of
no, she was there already. She come out of no thin air, man.
Well, some people put in the chat, she just come out of thin air.
Nah, you listen to Run DMC and them no Run, don't know nothing. Run only knew politics and Run don't even know who is the MP. Run who is the MP. You know who is the MP? He don't eat breadstick, cheesesteak, nut cake, 𝗲𝗶𝘆 nuts.
But she reminds me so much of COP, you know, running on hot fumes and nothing, you know, can't deliver nothing.
All right,
but you know, my concern is right. They're already at loggerheads with this 6-6. You know, why this third party? Just I don't know.
If it gets 7-7, she could be the broker, man.
But you think she just said she ain't working. She don't like Watson Jew, and she's a previous PNM. So who you think she's gonna go with?
Let's bring in a returning. Mr.
Can you adopt me, sir?
Can you adopt me? Mr. How are you doing, sir?
Good night. Fine in these circumstances, in relation to what is prevailing in Trinidad, but we have to continue to do what we have to do.
I like your disposition, sir. Can you adopt me?
But wait now, Dana. I want you man to smile a little bit, man.
Well, that's what I'm telling him. I like his disposition. Can you adopt me, sir? I promise you a good girl.
Yeah, I think he's smiling because he have only yellow Brazil shoes. I think he said I'm going in the village tonight, but I can't get my shoes. But anyhow, and as of course, we respectfully like to address people, you know, by is it Mr. Rudranath Indar Singh? Is it Mr. Indar Singh? Is it Rudy? Or would you like to be?
Well, I am comfortable with whilst my name on the birth paper is Rudranath Indar Singh. People refer to me over the years as Rudy and so on. So, I mean, we're having a very informal discussion, so I could live with it.
All right, no, for full 100. So you know, we have with us this individuals with the dark triplets. We have these Diana. Diana is considered to be the Storm. Then we have Ansem. Yeah. Ansem is considered to be Flash or Wall Street. And then we have Gary. Gary is considered to be the Phantom. You know, Gary's the Phantom with no picture. And then we have Tommy. Tommy is considered to be the outside child, but the ladies in the chat call him the love child. I don't know why they say that, but they call him the love child. So you know, we have to
no, Mr. Indar Singh call him the love child.
No, that was Munilal.
Oh, that's Munilal. Oh, okay, my bad.
That was the Munilal game, that name?
No. Yeah.
No, boy, that was people in the chat game.
No,
you see
that was
yes. No, let me speak for myself.
Yeah, Balize wax. Yeah, Balize wax.
Speak for yourself.
No, Mr. Munidal was told that I am the outside child, and he said the outside child gets more love than the inside child.
Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah.
So that's how it come up. Yeah.
That's correct.
Whatever.
Yeah, Rudy smiling from ear to ear, and I want to know this.
Whatever.
we will get him to smile, boy. That's a good. But
in that case, Mr. Rudy, I'm an outside child too. Because I was born first, and then my mother married another man and have other children. So I was an outside child.
I hear you.
You can't go outside.
So we have that firstborn in common. We are both firstborns, all right? So you have two outside children.
So Rudy, I think one of the main reasons why we wanted you to come in, we wanted you to talk about the situation in your constituency with respect to the bulldozing in your constituency. You know, I saw the video. I think we have the video as well. You know, talk to us a little bit about that, because you know, for us it's kind of difficult because of the things that we do. We have done during this pandemic and trying to help so many people, to see a situation like that happen. You know, We felt it was uncalled for.
I agree with you. It is very heart-wrenching. Today, when I went to the actual area, one of the individuals, Mrs. McEnroy, she virtually was experiencing a mental meltdown. And this is something that, I mean, we are all office holders, whether we are in government or opposition, or whatever portfolio you may hold in relation to public life. I think that when you are in government, you have an additional responsibility to empathize and understand with the plight of the ordinary citizens of the country. And in this particular area, there are a number of what we would call small, very humble homes, what we may call in Trinidad and Tobago 10 by 10, not bigger than that, and so on. And about a couple of people, I think about 12 families, 12 to 14, approached me last year, and in relation to what was happening on the fence line in relation to the area that they were living. The government, through 𝗧𝘃, entered into an arrangement with a Chinese company to develop approximately 100 acres of land in the 𝗧𝘃𝗏𝘃𝗏𝘃 area towards the construction of an industrial park. All well and good in the context of national development if you want to go in that direction. But when the consultants and the entities went to the 𝗂𝗏𝘶𝗏𝘏𝘆 Regional Corporation for the what we would call the statutory approvals and so on, they had indicated that they will not interfere with these persons who are living on the fence line or on the outskirts of where this project was taking place. It is not like the people are living in the middle of the project and you need to evict them because they're obstructing the progress of what is being done. Based on the fact that they came to me as constituents, I wrote to the chairman of 𝗧𝘃, Mr. Imtiaz Ahmad, to meet with him, and also I wrote, there's a gentleman by the name of Steve Delas, I think. I want to pronounce the fella name right. And don't slip with my tongue. And I requested a meeting, and I wrote on 2 occasions. Nobody attempted to engage me formally or respond to my letters. And in fact, Mr. Ahmad, the chairman of 𝗧𝘃, the board, called me and said, Mr. Angus, I'm prepared to meet with you, but I am not prepared to meet with the affected person. So I told Mr. Ahmad, and that was in the middle of the lockdown and so on, that I don't conduct my affairs so as a member of parliament. I wrote on behalf of people, and they must be in the meeting, as if they are not in the meeting, we really cannot have any meeting. And he promised to get back to me and so on, and I never heard. And the persons, the individuals and so on told me pickets were planted and so on by 𝗧𝘃, but no one came into the area, attempted to further communicate and so on the status of the project or what they were contemplating to do, only to be called yesterday by Ms. Warner and Mrs. McEnroy and so on to tell me that there was, and police, army, photographs were sent to me and so on, and crops that they had planted over the years was being bulldozed. These people have not proper toilet facilities, they have outhouses and so on. And they bulldozed the outhouse of one of the individuals. And it really caused me to reflect upon what were they achieving in carrying out this. They conducted a reign of terror, intimidating these people.
Hi, my name is Gary Aboud. I am the Corporate Secretary of Fishermen and Friends of the Sea. I'm here at Fort George Road, where it comes off of the highway opposite Peaks. You can recognize it. And you can see all this water. Now, some people might think this is rainwater, but I've been reporting this leak. You see here, it's not here. The road is kicking in here. Look at the water. You see the amount of water? It's drinkable water. It's fresh water. Look at it here. This has been leaking here literally for a year. We have reported this so many times. Look at water. Perfect water. You seen it? Look at water. So much water wasted. No, I calling them, everybody calling them. They don't care. Well, I think they care, but the amount of water. When will it end? When will it end?
Answer?
What's going on here? He just knock off Rudy?
Yeah. He's not even there.
Yeah.
Yeah, is Anselm there?
No, he's not. I am not hearing him at all. Anselm, we're not hearing you.
I wonder if he recognizes that he's not there.
Let me send a message.
No. Can you hear me now?
Now we're hearing you.
Now we
I
hear
don't know
you.
what happened there. I don't know what happened. Seriously, I don't know what happened. But we fixed it. I don't know what happened. So
We're back on track.
We back on track. Yeah.
We are back on track, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. Well, I was in the middle of explaining to
you
you.
were talking about you were talking about that you received a message.
Yeah, telephone calls and so on from the aggrieved individuals. And I decided to go into the area today to get a first-hand view of what transpired. And all I could conclude that this is high-handed. It reeks of arrogance. It reeks of, I would call the emerging dictatorship in the country. What else could I come? What conclusion that I could arrive at? Why would you want to, as I said, these are persons living in 10 by 10 houses who have indicated to me that they are living there for the last 25, one indicated 27 years. In addition, I've seen other homes, they have lights, they have water and so on. And what is mind-boggling to me is that the state entity, 𝗃𝗃, once they have allocated hundreds of millions of dollars towards the establishment of this industrial park, they are not prepared to engage in some kind of social dialogue with the aggrieved persons who are saying that if they are relocated, if they are compensated, they can move on with their lives. And these are registered farmers. They are registered badges from the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Marine Resources. And I was horrified to see why the crops and trees that were bearing a lot of fruits and so on were bulldozed by the equipment purportedly engaged by contractors through 𝗃𝗃 and so on. And I was able to speak to the line minister, Minister 𝗵𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆, about an hour and a half ago or so, and I indicated to her that I'm prepared to meet with them on behalf of the aggrieved person if 𝗃𝗃 commits to stopping all further actions and so on. And also, I have been speaking with Attorney at Law Jared Ramdi, and he has agreed that once we can fix a meeting that is convenient with everyone in terms of time and so on, he's willing to accompany to act on behalf of the aggrieved person in the Savannah area.
But here's my big question, right? Why would you go and do such activity during a pandemic in such an area where there's so many people in Trinidad and Tobago starving? Why would you destroy crops? Why wouldn't you maybe you could meet with the MP and have discussions, see what type of alternative measures you can put in place before actually doing it.
You are so right. That is the reason I wrote on 2 occasions. I have copies of the letters in 2020 and in 2021. I wrote to Mr. Ahmad, and it is mind-boggling. It reeks of callousness, arrogance. You name it. We are in government and we are not prepared to listen to anybody. And you are so right that in the middle of this pandemic, these are people who are trying to eke out a living based on the crops that they are planting in the back of their 10-by-10 homes. These people are unemployed. As I said, one of the women, it was really heart-wrenching if you probably have looked at the videos and so on.
Yeah, we have the video.
She is on the verge of a mental meltdown, and they bulldoze the lady out house. So she has no way to use from a toilet point of view at this point in time. And I told Minister Paula Gopi-Schoon and also Mr. Ahmad, who is the chairman of the board of directors of 𝗧𝗏, that there's something called karma, and we all have to account for our actions, and our actions must be tempered by a sense of willingness to meet and treat with individuals who are downtrodden. These people really, if you see the humble homes that they are living in, why do we exercise might is right, we are in charge, and you have allocated hundreds of millions of dollars from a government point of view, but you cannot apportion a couple thousands of dollars to address the social problems that affects the persons in this particular area. It reeks of hypocrisy, it reeks of arrogance, and this is the hallmark of the government of Prime Minister Dr. 𝗧𝗂𝗍𝐿. It is the only way I can describe it, and it was a reign of terror that was carried out on these poor and innocent citizens.
What I can understand, Mr. Inder Singh, is that we have X amount of houses that were built by the HDC that are sitting around, dry rotting, spoiling, decaying, whatever you may call it, and this is at the expense of the taxpayers in the country. Why it is that we can't utilize those houses to assist those that are displaced and distressed? What is needed to really to get this done?
Well, what really is needed is the political will to come up with a policy that will give effect to meeting and treating with cases, or as you rightly said, from a social conscience point of view, when you have persons who are facing the other end of this type of problems. For example, I have no problem. Recently, you had the fire where the children were unfortunately burned in the Nook area in St. Anne's, and ministerial intervention. So I think that the family, now the surviving members, will be the beneficiary of an AGC house. And I am not saying that people, we must engage in a all-out policy where people just make a claim for AGC house and they are given. You have to sit with them, assess their income stream and so on, and try and work out probably some kind of payment plan with the passage of time. So at least they will be willing to offset some or make some kind of payment and so on as it relates to the costs that are incurred by AGC. I remember the Minister of Housing, the current minister, indicated that in some statement recently that over $100 million is owed by taxpayers or citizens or recipient of AGC homes to the Housing Development Corporation, but it's also probably reflective of the level of unemployment and the inability of people to service their mortgages and debts and so on. In fact, I think I was not privy to all the facts, but I think that the central bank governor today, Governor 𝗧𝘂𝗲𝗍𝘆, indicated that he was very concerned, and the bank was concerned about the level of indebtedness that is existing among citizens in the country at this point in time.
So Mr. Anderson, Rudy,
yeah,
is there anything more you could have done than just writing a letter? Is there anything more you could have done prior? I mean, it already happened now, but to use this as an example for the future, is there anything more that MPs may be able to take a more proactive role in certain things they see in their constituency before something like this happens?
Well, the other avenues, exploring the legal options, going to court in the context of, well, protest action and so on is very limited in the context of the current state of emergency and so on. You could be hauled before the police could be called in as it relates to congregating and encouraging protest action and so on. You want to, from a member of parliament point of view, you always want to be pursuing action that is deemed to be within the law and upholding the law and the constitution of the country. But sometimes the means justify the end, and when people are pushed in a particular direction, people react. I mean, whilst I do not condone what happened to Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves in St. Vincent today, but what is simmering out there is an indication that people are being pushed, or a particular socioeconomic situation is unfolding in the country, and people are expressing their anger and expressing their will in terms of the level of frustration and the social and economic problems that are existing in that country also.
You know, I also see that. I think the government is going to allocate $100 million with respect to the flooding that just happened. And I'm saying to myself, right, like if I go into my global business class, I'm saying to myself that you're going to allocate $100 million, right? And I really believe that $100 million could stop flooding in Trinidad and Tobago. So,
well, I guess I am not privy to all the information I've heard about the figure and so on. I do not know what is the flood plan. This was the same Minister of Works and Transport, Rowan Sinanan, who boasted about building some floodgate near the lighthouse. I do not know if you can recollect, and that the flooding on South Key and so on was eliminated. Certainly, what transpired there, I mean, it was heavy rainfall, it was a lot of flash flooding and so on. But it also tells you that what is being done from a capital city point of view, or the capital of Trinidad and Tobago in terms of dealing with the infrastructure and addressing the whole flood plan and so on in the last 6 years by this government has really not borne fruition. And I hope to get further details. We hope to get further details, because announcing a figure and saying that you are going to spend $100 million is what I would call the politics of public relations and appeasement in relation to what transpired. And it is just probably monies or figures that are being bandied about, with really presenting a very clear plan, what I through the Port of Spain City Corporation, with the Ministry of Local Government, collaborating with the Ministry of Works and Transport, because at the end of the day, too, your capital city needs the resources to address this particular issue of flooding. It was an embarrassing situation, but at the end of the day, we are thankful that lives were not lost. A lot of damage was done to motor vehicles, homes, and so on. And I really hope that the government understands that just announcing that you are spending money will not bring the desired solution to the people of Port-of-Spain and environment.
Ellis, I don't understand the question about the land that SIS got from the UNC. Kind of clarify that a little bit for me to ask that question, because I don't understand it. Lana says, Mr. Anderson, do you think the SOE will be extended after August due to the Freedom March by the union?
Well, certainly the SOE, if the government wants to come to the part for any extension now, based on the constitution of the country, they have to come to the parliament to seek an extension, and that requires a 3/5 majority. And certainly the leader of the opposition has indicated that the lockdown measures and so on, the SU, is not working in the interest of the ordinary people of Trinidad and Tobago. So she has already set the tone that the opposition may not be prepared to support any extension of the SOE.
Okay. All right, so there you have it. We have certain questions here in the chat. Alice, I want to ask a question, but I don't know if Rudy will know anything.
I want to ask a question. I'm saying, was your area affected by?
Huh? Feel free to ask. Feel free to ask any question.
Yeah, the guy says, Alice says, what about the land that SIS got from the UNC?
Well, Mr. Ellis must present the facts that will guide me. Is he in possession of any deed which supports the allegation that he's making, or any lease from the Office of the Commissioner of State Lands and so on?
Well, I mean, I just all I do is asking the question.
Well, I'm putting back the ball in Mr.
Ellis, the ball in your court, boss. Right? So you can't say, you know, what happened to Rudy? That's time I ask the question, you know. So I look for the question.
People are free. Once as they are participating in your program, they are free to pose any question to myself once as I am a guest. And people.
No, don't be afraid, man. Look at one just come here. Why did the UNC give away beachfront to the 1% to open a water park?
Again, the UNC did not give away any beachfront. There are processes and so on. There's a board of directors that govern the 𝗧𝗂𝗲 Development Authority. And I am sure that persons or entities would have made applications to the 𝗧𝗂𝗲 Development Authority for leases to engage in whatever development that they wanted to pursue in those parts of Trinidad and Tobago. And it went through the necessary processes via the 𝗧𝗂𝗲 Development Authority. I do not know at this point in time if anybody has been charged or are before the courts for any wrongdoing as it relates to leases that were granted by the 𝗧𝗂𝗲 Development Authority.
You know, I something like Rowley. We have a fellow in the chat named Rowley. I don't understand. I don't understand some of these questions, you know, right? But
are you hearing me?
Yeah, we hear you know.
Yeah,
the people who are on your chat and so on, they are free to ask any questions.
Yeah. So this is what Rowley said. But Rowley have something we can't pronounce, right? He says, let me get you a question. Why did the PNM spend 18 billion on Canada config? I mean, I don't know if the PNM spent 18 billion. I don't know. But that's his question.
Well, they have spent billions of dollars for the last 6 years, and what is there to show for the level of what could we say in terms of what level of development has it brought to the country? Over 120,000 persons have lost their jobs in the last 6 years. the economy is in a tailspin from the point of view of there have been 6 consecutive years of negative economic growth. The government has clearly failed to attract foreign direct investment into Trinidad and Tobago. There is no diversification or job creation. And the major game changers that the government announced as policy positions, whether it was sandals and their dry docking facilities down in 𝗪𝗵𝘀 and the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate and so on, all these things are not coming to the fore. There's no fruition of the game-changing project. So, and then the whole issue of how much they have spent in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic. Up till today, we are still in a tailspin in relation to the realization of herd immunity. We fail miserably in terms of procuring vaccines in a very timely and decisive manner. This is why the government is very hesitant to fully reopen the economy of the country, knowing fully well that the Delta variant is somewhere lurking within our nearby. It is near Barbados. It may soon be the CMOH, the Minister of Health, and so on. They have admitted that the possibility of the Delta variant coming to Trinidad and Tobago is a real possibility, and this is why they are clamoring and virtually pleading and begging and moaning and groaning for people to take the Sinopharm vaccine. When, for example, countries in North America and Europe and so on have indicated that they are not accepting persons into their countries who have been vaccinated with the Sinopharm vaccine. So, and I have not heard Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and his Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Amy Brown, have not so far indicated that they will be prepared to, from a collective point of view, to challenge this issue at the level of CARICOM, where CARICOM could probably engage the Canadian government and the European Union to find out what is their clear travel policy as it relates to the persons who have been vaccinated with the Sinopharm vaccine.
So someone says, Mr. Anderson, do you think the government will make mandatory the taking of, I said jab, the taking of the jab? And if this happens, do you think it could reach to what happened in St. Vincent?
Well, as I said, I will hope that the government will continue to use moral suasion, engage persons, procure vaccines that are friendly to the people of the country, where there will not be this lack of trust and this vaccine hesitancy that the government has created. Like all things being equal, we want a country that is free from fear and free from violence and so on. So my hope is that Dr. Rowley, as the Prime Minister and his cabinet, will continue. I am hoping that they will continue to be decisive in providing some kind of leadership, which they have failed to do over the last 2 years. We, from the opposition point of view, we have been encouraging our constituents and the people of Trinidad and Tobago to take the vaccines. But as I said, given the international diplomacy that is existing at this point in time and positions that have been adopted by countries within the EU and even Canada, is probably accounting for the level of vaccine hesitancy in Trinidad and Tobago at this point in time, because it is a known fact that virtually every Trinidad family has somebody living in Canada, and to a lesser extent probably in London and other entities within the European Union.
Another question is, state land that's given under deed of comfort, can the government reclaim those properties if they want to?
Well, I mean, compulsory acquisition is something that the government can always invoke, but it is also the responsibility of the courts to uphold the position, or as it relates to lands that were granted from a deed of comfort point of view. So if the government wants to further engage in any high-handed action and go contrary to that concept of the lands that were granted under the deed of comfort policy, then I'm sure this will be challenged in the courts of Trinidad and Tobago.
Another question is, what do you think about Jolene John as the leader of the UNC?
Well, at this point in time, 𝗹𝗶𝘀𝗲𝐿 is the political leader of the United National Congress. The party is a democratic party that has always encouraged any financial member of the party to vie for whatever office that is available when there is executive elections from the point of view of the United National Congress. But at this point in time, there is no vacancy, whether it is at the level of the political leader or the national executive of the United National Congress.
Mr. Indarsingh, I have a question. Instead of what's this saying? What? Vaccinate to operate. Why can't they? Why should they? I think they should motivate to vaccinate by giving people grants.
Now, when you say grants, financial grants?
Yes, because people are behind on all their bills. Everybody's behind on all their bills. Why not use their ID card per household and motivate them to get a vaccination and give them a grant money and stimulate the economy to spending?
Well,
then they will spend.
You're probably thinking along the lines of the stimulus package that President Biden is working on in terms of the U.S. economy and so on. That is something that the government should be looking at, whether it is some kind of the amount of unemployed people that is existing at this point in time, and you need people to spend money to kickstart the economy. So it is something that is worth exploring, and in terms of looking at a stimulus package that may help to incentivize people to vaccinate and realize herd immunity. And when you get that grant, certainly it will be used to settle bills and probably spend some within the economy that can stimulate the small and medium-sized businesses once again.
So I urge you, take it to Parliament, motivate to vaccinate.
I love the tagline. I think that you should send a WhatsApp message to the Minister of Health and tell him remove operate to vaccinate and replace it with motivate to vaccinate.
Okay, I will do so.
The Minister of Finance may be so inclined to listen to your suggestion of some kind of grant in relation to a stimulus package and so on.
So do you think, another question, do you think the water park was a good deal for Trinbagonians? Do you think the water park was a good deal for Trinbagonians?
Which water park?
I guess the water park in Chaguaramas.
Well, at the moment, it is water parks are not functioning, but I know for a fact that when it was functioning, it was helping to create employment. It was an area of socialization and relaxation and so on for young people and family outings and so on. So there was a certain trust, I think, from the Chaguaramas Development Company to develop that area in terms of employment levels and services and so on. And probably it would have assisted in diversifying the economy, while not in a very full-fledged manner, but it could have pointed another growth pole as it relates on area of growth to focus on that would have, as I said, provided employment, generate the spending of monies and so on in that particular area of Trinidad and Tobago, and also to create, as I said, the spending of money within the economy, which is vital in terms of the circular flow of income in your society.
Okay, we have another question here.
Almost approaching the top.
Yeah, okay. So Rudy, can you stick and stay with us for a few more minutes? We want to go for a quick station identification. Of course, we have with us Mr. Rujanath Indrasingh. He's the MP for Couva South. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I get it correct, but MP for
And
Couva
so I
South.
have a couple of questions when you come back too.
All right, yeah, and I have he have willingly joined us here. We requested of him late, and he take his time to join us here. We do appreciate that. We're gonna go for a quick station identification. Stick and stay, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after this message. Let me don't make sure I don't do anything like I did before. That kind of messed up everything. People said the Balize sent a message to me to do that.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
You know, we are back with you. It's Individuals with the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Of course, we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. And you know something? Rudy, I have to say this here. In the village, we welcome anybody from any party.
Right? Yeah. That's your responsibility to have diverse views, and that is how a democracy operates, and it is the responsibility of the media to encourage that kind of divergence of views.
But why don't they encourage that more in Trinidad and Tobago?
In relation to what?
Most of the time, the talk programs on radio in Trinidad is pro-UNC or pro-PNM or anti-UNC or anti-PNM. Why don't they encourage? Like, for example, tonight we had the mayor of Port of Spain, right? He's a PNM. We had Dr. Denise Tsoiafatt Angus. She has a new party in Tobago, the IDA. And we have you, who is with the UNC. And you could get so many different ideas, and you could formulate things. Like somebody asked this question. And let me quickly ask this question. This is a good question, right? And I think that's what, so somebody asked, hold on. It asks a question that, hold on, let me take that out. Somebody asked a question. Let me just get this question because it goes to what we are talking about. Is that what, let me paraphrase the question, and I'm going to get it. What does the UNC have in place to motivate people to vote for UNC in 2025? I kind of paraphrase that question.
Yeah, well, of course, the pandemic and the lockdown has put a damper on the ability to go out and fully engage persons and so on, and to have the functioning of the different arms of the party. But we continue to advocate through the Monday night forum, the virtual platforms. We continue to be out in the media. We continue to be out, as what I'm doing here right now. We continue to be in the parliament of the country and so on. We will, as I said, local government elections will soon be upon us with the passage of time. Then general elections, and of course, we will continue to put our economic program positions and so on forward. The political leader continues, especially at the virtual Monday night programs and so on, to put forward program and policies or alternatives that were based on the National Draft Economic Transformation Plan as it relates to how we saw governing Trinidad and Tobago between 2020 and 2025. Of course, the dynamics have changed with the pandemic, how it has impacted upon the economy from a domestic point of view, how it has impacted upon the workplace, how it has impacted upon the regional and global economy and so on. And these are things that we would need to reshape our thoughts, policies, and position as we continue to move with the passage of time. But I'm sure that once as the SOE is lifted and so on, you will see a fuller engagement of the party, the members of parliament and so on, and councillors on the ground as it relates to where we want to go in relation to 2025.
Gary?
So as you know, we had the mayor of Port of Spain, Mr. Martinez, earlier. We were discussing infrastructure and how we can best prevent the flooding that has taken place in the country and presently, and what can be put in place. So I would like to see some plans revisited with the UNC, bring it forward to the parliament, and recommendations that where we should spend money to prevent flooding as much as possible we can with dredging, redirecting water into our water treatment plant so we can have it for the dry season, because the water is just wasted and causing chaos. And I strongly believe that if we are able to divert some of this water, especially when it comes down the hills, I was recommending to Mr. Martinez about intercepting the water on several sectors in a parallel way, that you can divert the water from flowing downhill and lead it into some kind of a retention and water
catchment retention ponds and so on.
Water storage facility eventually where we can reprocess the water. So it has a combination of ministries and agencies has to get involved with this. So I would like to see some kind of recommendation from the UNC, bringing this forward back again. Kind of rehashing, revisiting these ideas, because it's something that's critical that needs to take place.
Well, I think that, Gary, you have, in light of what unfolded in the Cascade, Port of Spain, the outskirts, even it made all its way down to the South Key area and so on. You are quite right that there's the need to re-strategize, refocus as it relates to retention ponds, catchment areas, and so on, because when the heavy rains come, the water should be retained, rediverted for the benefit of WASA and for the population in the context of when the dry season, the onset of the dry season, and so on. You are quite right that we need to put that back on the front burner, and water management. Water management is something that government, not only in Trinidad, but throughout the world, will have to address with climate change and how it is impacting upon the environment and so on. So these are things that I am sure that as we go forward to 2025, you will hear from the UNC different positions, innovative and creative, and the way to that these things are realized from a policy position point of view is by thorough dialogue and engagement of stakeholders within the country, so that when manifestos are written, policy positions are arrived on from a party's point of view, it is based on consensus and feedback from stakeholders within the society.
Because you see they're just running through up housing and no land development was taking place, no drainage infrastructure, nothing was put in place. They just went and knock down trees and throw up houses without any imagination. So these are part of the chaos also that we are dealing with. So I would like to see this kind of ideas brought forth back into the parliament.
Well, thank you very much, and of course, I'm sure that you can always email us. You can always put forward your issues or the issues that you would like to be addressed, and also to put forward some suggestion and recommendation. And I am sure that this will be considered with a view to incorporating it into official policy position with the passage of time.
Mr. Indar Singh, we see in these times that food prices are going out of the ceiling astronomically. As a matter of fact, it may be even be a situation of price gouging. How do we and how should we treat with that as a people, especially in the parliament?
Well, again, it is the responsibility of the government to address the issue of the increase in food prices. We have been hearing about the shortage of foreign exchange, which is impacting upon the overhead costs and the final cost of product that are imported into Trinidad and Tobago. It is an accepted fact that we do not grow enough in terms of food to feed ourselves. So we have a huge food import bill, $5+ billion. And over the last 6 years, I think that while Minister 𝗵𝗶𝘆 makes a lot of pronouncements and so on, from the point of view of his ministry, has not really done anything tangible to reduce the level of import from a food point of view in the country. And also the foreign exchange crisis, business persons are paying more to acquire US dollars because the banks are not giving them a substantial or sufficient quota, so they are paying more on the black market and they are passing on their increased costs to consumers. In addition to that, shipping costs, freight costs have been increased. I have heard from businessmen that a 40-foot container, the charges were somewhere, it has increased from $3,000 to $14,000 per month, and so not per month, but when a container is shipped into Trinidad and Tobago. All these things are impacting upon the cost of living in the country, and then of course the government's inability in relation to growing the economy from a positive point of view. Then there is also the very important issue of what are we doing to encourage domestic agricultural production and so on, that could, and even the manufacturing sector in Trinidad and Tobago. Are we expanding the manufacturing sector in terms of our local base, and whether the region is competitive enough to impact upon the level of prices in the country? These are the fundamental questions that have to be posed to the Prime Minister and his cabinet in terms of what they are doing to address this growing issue and this worsening issues as it relates to the level of food prices in Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, I see that's perfect example of what happened today with them knocking down the ladies' agricultural products there, that she worked so hard to help feed the country with, So I don't see this government.
I personally was disgusted at why would these agents of 𝗧𝗃 act in such an arrogant and high-handed manner. In fact, the equipment has not even come near these people's homes in terms of the land development that is taking place. They are not in no way impeding the crops that were bulldozed, was not posing any threat to the well-being of the project. And I cannot fathom why this high-handed action was done.
So, we have a question here, Mr. Indar Singh. You think Trinidad and Tobago will get Pfizer vaccine before the end of 2021?
Well, again, the Prime Minister continues to engage in what I would call vaccine deception. We heard that we should be getting some Pfizer vaccines that would have been utilized to vaccinate the school children of Trinidad and Tobago to facilitate or pave the way for the reopening of the schools for the September term.
Hey, what's up?
The term for 2022 that will begin in September. Up till now, the Prime Minister, unfortunately, we heard, I think today, that an announcement was made. 82,000 doses of AstraZeneca will be donated by the government of Canada under some arrangement. I think it has arrived in the country.
It actually came in today. Yeah, it came in today.
It came in today. We have not been told about what is the status of the pronouncement that was made by the Prime Minister as relates to the Pfizer vaccine for the school children of Trinidad and Tobago. We are virtually halfway into August. So I shudder to think that we will get any Pfizer vaccine in the near future, because up till today too, the government has failed. I think when they got the 80 vials of the Pfizer vaccine, they indicated that this was supposed to be used for the personnel within the intelligence units of the Ministry of National Security. Up till today, we cannot be told whether it was 2 persons within the national intelligence agencies, whether it was 400 persons, whether it was what classification of persons. We do not want the names, but at least the classification of persons who would have benefited from the Pfizer vaccine that came into the country under very questionable circumstances. And again, the lack of transparency continues to plague this government in relation to its dissemination of information with the population worldwide. I'm told that you taxpayers know how much vaccines cost. We have entered into a confidentiality clause with the government of China as it relates to the supply of the 800,000 Sinopharm vaccine. And up till today, the taxpayers cannot be told what is the unit cost in relation to these vaccines that were procured on behalf of the taxpayers of this country.
So let's take about, there's about 2 more questions from in the chat, right? Someone said, Mr. Anderson, if the UNC was in power, do you think COVID will be under control and the people treated fairly, especially the way stranded nationals were being treated?
Well, I think that obviously the UNC has always had an approach of people-centered development. Of our overall policies have always been about improving the quality of life and standard of living. This has always been the philosophical underpinning of the party that was created since, well, we have been born out of the United Labour Front up till this point in time. And at the end of the day, I am sure that we would have engaged the stakeholders of Trinidad and Tobago, whether it was for vaccine procurement, the rollout of vaccine, the returning of nationals who are stranded beyond the borders of Trinidad and Tobago. It would have definitely been dealt with in a very different manner had the United National Congress been in power. Our first 5 years was based on under Mrs. 𝗹𝗵𝘀𝗀𝘆 as Prime Minister, one that focused on education and health and the growth of the economy, the creation of jobs, and so on, infrastructural development. These are the things that are near and dear to people. And I'm sure that we were not about a government that created lines of pain and chaos and suffering, whether it is for your passport, whether it is for your birth paper, whether it is for gas, whether it is for vaccines, whether you name it. This is a government that continues to inflict pain, chaos, and suffering on the ordinary citizens of the country.
Now, someone says, Rudy, that all countries that supply vaccine are asked to enter a confidential agreement. It's part of the terms and conditions.
Well, I am sure you live in the United States. You are I am sure that you are privy in terms of how much it costs for one of these vaccines.
Well, some countries, not all countries, some countries, you know, when they supply vaccine, when they're given a supply of vaccine, some of them sign on a non-disclosure agreement too. I know some countries have signed non-disclosure agreement with respect to vaccine, and I think a lot of the countries that are supplying the Sinopharm, a lot of countries where China is supplying the Sinopharm vaccine, many of those countries have to sign non-disclosure agreements. So it's not something that, you know, it's only happening in Trinidad and Tobago, but it's happening in other countries as well.
Well, whilst I hear you, I think that the government needs to be very transparent as it relates to the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago, and in terms of how it is expending taxpayers' dollars on the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. We will clamor for proper accountability and transparency as it relates to this particular issue.
And I think it's important, right? Transparency is very, very, very important. And it doesn't matter what it is. I think, you know, for any government, you know, as far as the transparency, it's like when you come into the village, we are very transparent with who we support, who we don't support. You know, even though we support a party, you know, doesn't mean to say we cannot be critical of that party. The party may not like it. But to me, you know, the way you hold a party in check is by people who support the party to be able to help the party to get better. You know, sometimes
you are quite right. For any political organization to grow, even within your own family structure, you must be always prepared to dialogue. You must be prepared to be criticized. You must be prepared to listen to suggestions, recommendations, and so on. If you are only praised and you're only flattered and so on, then it may be deceptive, and you really don't understand where you need to go and how you need to grow as a political organization. So criticism, recommendations, alternatives, suggestions, and so on are always welcome for any organization to grow.
So this will be the last question I take from the chat here. I'm trying to see. Well, two more. Mr. Anderson, do you think under this pandemic, money should be spent on projects that have to use due to the pandemic?
I missed the last part.
Do you think under this pandemic, money should be spent on projects that have something to do with the pandemic? You know, something that resulted due to the pandemic. For example, you know, people, you know, CPEP workers got cut in salary as an example, or any projects that's happening due to the pandemic, any monies that come in the government comes into the government, like the loan from China, for example, that is she spent on projects that have something to do with the pandemic.
Well, I mean, a government as it is entering into loan arrangement must be very clear on the conditionalities that imposed upon it as it relates to what monies can be used for, what are the conditionalities, and so on. If you are seeking to raise money, you must be very clear what you are going to use it for, whether it is for social support, whether it is for the development of the health sector in the fight against pandemic, whether it is for the provision of procurement of vaccines, personal protective equipment to bolster your parallel healthcare system, to procure oxygen tanks, bed space, pay for doctors, pay for more nurses, and so on. You have to be very clear in what you are doing as it relates to raising monies and so on. At the end of the day, too, you must not enter into any arrangements or continue to grow the national debt of the country, which will ultimately lead to the inability to service your national debt and can lead to the government defaulting on its loan repayments, which will create a further financial crisis for the citizens of the country and can destabilize your financial system and so on.
So this is the last two questions, okay? How much is the monthly rental fee for the water park?
That is something that I don't have within my thought process or at my disposal at this point in time.
Somebody says, I don't know what, is the current political leader on access to the party? I mean, I think it's the question. If they're asking you that, is the current political leader on access to the party?
Well, Mrs. Tsoiafatt Angus, the political leader of the party, and the first woman to lead the United National Congress, was able to deliver, to lead the party into government and to deliver a government that was able to bring unparalleled and unprecedented development. As I indicated a couple moments ago, whether it was from an infrastructure, economic, health, national security, the education sectors, and so on, social support, and I could go on and on. She has continued to hold the party as a united party in the context of when she led the People's Partnership Government, the different political entities or force that form part of that government. So she has been able to demonstrate that sense of leadership that is required to keep the United National Congress on a particular trajectory in relation to fulfilling its political mandate, not only to the membership of the political party, but ensure that the United National Congress continues to be a force to be reckoned with on the political landscape of Trinidad and Tobago.
And this is the last question. Why is the opposition not doing more to help save the economy and just blaming the PNM? It's like it's just a blame game and the country not going forward.
Well, I do not know that we are part of any national front government or national unity government. It is our responsibility to point out the flaws, the deficiency, the shortcomings of the government under the Westminster system. The government is in charge. It is led by a prime minister. It is led by a cabinet, and they have the responsibility of governing Trinidad and Tobago. We can make recommendations, we can make suggestions, we can put our narrative in the parliament and outside of the parliament. The prime minister has made it very clear that he needs no advice from the leader of the opposition or any member of the United National Congress in the parliament of the country or outside of the parliament of the country. So Dr. Rowley as prime minister has made it very clear that any recommendation from our end are very unwelcome, and he's not willing to embrace the UNC. But it is our responsibility to call out the government where we see their shortcomings in terms of their deficiencies and the lack of leadership and the lack of delivery to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
And that has been his attitude from day one. That was the recipe for all the chaos that we're dealing with now.
You are quite right. And this is a prime minister who, when he was in government, was the leader of the opposition, indicated that he will not cooperate with the government at all. In fact, Dr. Rowley's position and the PNM position was, we will isolate the government. We will not cooperate with the government at any point in time. Well, and Mrs. Tsoiafatt Angus and the UNC has always attempted, look, even in this pandemic, she wrote for a bipartisan approach. She wrote for, made certain recommendations and so on. And every time the opposition attempted to put something to the government and call for a national task force and so on in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, the prime minister was very disdainful, scornful, and outright rejected whatever the UNC attempted to put forward in the interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So, Mr. Inda Singh, normally what we do, you know, before we let our guests go by, we ask them, and we would like an update from you. If you had to send a message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. 𝗧𝗂𝗲𝗆𝐺, what would be your message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago?
The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, I think that I cannot help him, and either the UNC cannot help him based on the position that he has adopted, where he has made it very clear he wants no advice from the leader of the opposition. He wants no advice from the United National Congress, and based on his failure to deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, my message to him was that if you cannot deal with the job, then from a democratic point of view, provide the people of Trinidad and Tobago with the alternative in relation to making a decision where they will want or be able to select a government that can lead the people in a very decisive manner and also deliver goods and services for the benefit of the country.
Mr. Anderson, we want to thank you so much, so very kindly for joining us. Any closing words before you go?
I just want to say thank you. It has always been a pleasure for me to continue to interface with you all on this particular program, and also to take the questions and engage in the comments in the chat room. At the end of the day, we collectively need to play our respective roles in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. We all want the world to return to the normal that would have existed prior to September of 2019, and let us all collectively play our role in ensuring that we can return to that environment through encouraging people to take the vaccines, sanitize, engage in social distancing, wear your mask where it is imposed upon from a public health point of view. And I'm sure that we will return to the pre-2019 period that we want to all enjoy the global community that existed prior to September of 2019. Be safe and keep well.
Rudy, you want to say thank you so very kindly for joining us. Oh, I got rid of that. Yeah. But listen, let me quickly, because Cheese Sticks, put closing comments. Cheese Sticks, put closing comments in the chat. Diana, let me say quickly this. This fella named Cheese Sticks, I don't know, like he and Ron his cousin, you know. Yeah, what he said? And I keep this up here for that. He said, Miss Diana, tell Ansem to talk like a Trinidad. As soon Inda Singh come in, either that strong American accent come out from him.
Oh Lord.
That's Cheese Stick.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
Don't pay them no mind.
No, I ain't paying him no mind. No.
He's cheese corn curls.
Corn curls. Hey, corn curls. Hey, you had a new person named Nadira.
She gone.
She gone?
No, she gone. I think she gone. Yeah, she has to get up early for some other show.
Okay. All right. So listen, two persons. Cheese Stick, if he's still there, and we have somebody. You know, Lana didn't close the show yet. You know, Lana never closed the show, right?
Yeah, no.
Lana and Cheese Stick, please put your closing comments in the chat. JB says, when good men do nothing, foolish men will flourish. Darren Prasad. Darren was here before?
No, he's new.
Darren,
yeah, he was here before. He was here before. Yeah, he's troublesome. That's why I'm sending him to the moon.
You see, Diana give me and my grip and on my way ticket to the moon.
A one-way ticket to the moon.
One-way ticket to the moon. So Cheese Stick. JB have to say something like the empty question. See that? Now, Dara, I feel that's why nuts cake left early. What the nuts cake? What the waterfield nuts?
Going to make peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Ellis, why are there so many people on both sides buying all
That's
these
their names, you know.
Are they hey, Ellis, I missed that one, boss. Don't worry. We'll get next time. All right. So listen, folks. It's been a long night. Ron, nobody asked you for closing comments, boss. Ron, nobody asked you for closing comments.
He's like a little 5-year-old.
The guy so never see come see.
Buy your food. No, Ron said buy your food and scatter.
No.
Oh, gee.
What did I say again? She's sick on who?
She's sick on Lana.
And Lana, yeah, she's sick on Lana.
Lana put her. She put hers already up there.
She put hers already?
Yeah.
Wait.
You want me to read it?
Oh yeah. All right. So Diana, you go. Go Diana.
Oh, you want me to do? No, I'm going to do something lengthy now. Okay.
Hold on. All right. Tommy, go ahead.
Okay. Again, it's a wonderful Thursday, and I'd like to say that, in the words of Albert Einstein, logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Imagine a nation. That's what I say. Also, I'd like to say, the more simple we are, the more complete we become. And that's by August Rodin. Before I go, one more thing I want to say. We find beauty in ordinary things, and you will always be surrounded by loveliness. Find beauty in ordinary things, and you will always be surrounded by loveliness. Pleasant good night to each and every one, and we'll see you on the next show.
Martin Luther King states, change does not roll in on the wings of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. And so we must straighten our backs and work for our freedom. A man can't ride you unless your back is bent. From where I sit, this is it. The puck on the wall say that's all I like to say, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. And for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. Go ahead, Gary.
I just want to thank MP Nursing and Mayor Martinez for joining us and everyone who joined us tonight. It was an interesting night, and I'm sure that got some here tonight. So with that, I will say good night to my family. This is the Trini Phantom saying good night.
And Gary, I just wanted to add too. We want to thank Dr. Denise.
Oh yeah.
Angus, for joining us and staying with us. We really thank you guys, for joining us.
She a very pleasant lady. I mean, I took to her very much, but we gotta be realistic. It's a 2-horse race, and
them people need chattlers, man. Chat, it was chatterlicious, man. Whew.
You mean again, sir?
What? You see them thing them people put in the chat? I can't read some of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have to be very realistic. It's a 2-horse race. You are either working with or for. You know what I mean?
But she could be a spoiler, She could be a spoiler.
Exactly. That's what she's going to be. She's going to be a spoiler like Dukaran, and we cannot afford that. We cannot support that. The issues are too critical. And I see it as a life or death situation where we really need to take a side. And I'd like to encourage the people to be smart and not shoot themselves in the foot. This is war. It's about survival. I mean, it's more real now than ever with this pandemic situation. People are suffering, so make the best choice.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I want to say, according to the dictionary, millennials are persons between the ages of 25 and 40. The disgruntled millennials in Trinidad and Tobago are becoming more assertive and independent and are beginning to thirst for change. They have grown weary of the old political structures in place that now seem to operate as a Jurassic hurdle, impeding any progress that should be realized by them. The millennials' presence can be seen in the social sector, in media via blogs, in business and in academics. They are seeing what the lack of unity does to the political and judicial machine, how the pandemic has made many jobless, homeless, caused psychological stress, how the border closure has separated and devastated families. They're also witnessing the lack of proper social support, the revealing of the hardships that the poor, disadvantaged citizens of Trinidad are enduring on a daily basis. Under the current establishment, disgruntled millennials are witnessing the bulldozing and demolition of a citizen's home, crumbling infrastructure, a negative rating from Standard & Poor's, foreign investments negative 400 million plus, citizens hurting from mandated business closures and now behind on all their financial obligations with no debt forgiveness moratorium, witnessing the elite of the society acquiring luxuries during a pandemic, COVID deaths rising, citizens are still stranded, the lack of transparency by the incumbent, Tobago's quest for autonomy, and no prospects of jobs for them, the millennials. Yet amidst all this hardship, some financial houses are reporting record profits. To compound all this suffering, add the flash floods to this unsavory potpourri, and it leaves an unpleasant smell in the noses of the COVID-heightened citizens. To those in leadership positions in the government of Trinidad and Tobago, I am asking, how do you plan to address the disgruntled, woke, and conscious millennials? This is Diana Benskin, aka The Storm, bidding you auf Wiedersehen until we meet again. Good night, beloved people.
And of course, closing comments by Cheese Stick. Good night, WZYE family and everyone in chat and Anselm. I like Diana more. Nah, I'm joking. That's Cheese Stick's closing comments. And Lana says, blessed good night to my villagers. Love you all. Stay safe till we meet again. Keeping it real in the village. Wall Street in blue tonight. So there you have it, folks. So we're gonna go out tonight with of course, folks. Hold on, let me see something. Let me see what is the last one or two comments they only have there. All right, that's good. No, I'm reading that.
Anselm, just close it. Close the program.
I'm reading that by Cheese Stick. There you go. Oh God, I feel like something else, but we're gonna go out to the I'm gonna go out with. Here we go. We're gonna go to Iowa, George. All right. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Think it over. Think it again. Listen. Everyone see Rash Shorty, Chalk Dust. Any one of them tell them what George say. Think it over. Think it again. I sit down listening to my radio. They say they're going and jam some calypso. They say they have something brand new from Rash Shorty. So I sit down patiently listening to he. But when I hear the man start back talking preacher, and then he start to diss up at Jala, is when I hear he start calling Iowa George name. I hold my head and start to ball, not my name again. 3 years ago he say, Iowa you singing Tata. Last year he come back with the same Tata. It look like Shorty I running out of lyrics. and he want me to teach him a few new tricks. I is the man who sing boom boom 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and every time I sing it, the people does whine. In short, he never used to treat young 𝗧𝘂𝗲𝗄𝗃 so crude. A way that teach him how to gamble and eat some food. Think it over, think it again, Mr. Shorty. Think it over, think it again, 𝗧𝘂𝗲𝗄𝗃. Think it over, think it again, 'cause everybody knows I could sing 𝗧𝘂𝗲, the party side of me. That is how I does maintain my family. Think it over, think it again, Mr. Chuck, just think it over, think it again. They're trying to tell people I cannot sing calypso. It's only boom boom and 2D I know. But I's the man who sing times hard, let us work harder. 2 months later the bank come to take my car. To be a 𝗧𝘂𝗲, you have to make fast money. Money for vitamins, you have to eat healthy. You have to drive good car, not no jalopy. You can't come in town looking hungry, hungry, hungry. You have to remember you is a role model, and anywhere you go, people will look up to you. That kind of lyric shorty I them want me to sing, like they want to see me eating from the dustbin. Think it over, think it again, Mr. Shorty. Think it over, think it again.